But yeah, last time I was just, I might even talk about it, to be honest, because I was just having a shit day the last time we did this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't even realise it till after.
Yeah, right.
It was just a weird deal. I was not, it should be sweet. When you got your headphones on, mate, we'll hook in. Ryan Gambin is back for part 2 of his Gypsy Tales podcast, because there was just some weird technical error that happened with the video camera. Just like I was saying, just wouldn't sync up.
Yeah.
But technically everything was right. So I just I'm like, I don't know how to fix this now.
So
all the shit that could be wrong, that could be wrong isn't wrong, but it's not working. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. So anyway, we got you back for round 2 of your podcast, which
1.2.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what we'd even call it, but it's like, well, we did a pre-podcast that we didn't record. Essentially,
we had the heat.
Well, the audio is there too, but like I could have put it out with the audio, but I was like, nah, you're too good looking of a dude.
Thanks, man.
Gotta get you in the video. But yeah, so Ryan is a strength and conditioning coach at KDV Sports here on the Goldie, and also a former Olympic swimmer. So for a lot of people, that comes as a surprise with your build and the tattooed nature of yourself.
Yeah, it's a common occurrence where people might see the Olympic rings that I have tattooed on my back, and then they'll just make an assumption that it was like wrestling or weightlifting or something, and then they think I'm stitching them up if I tell them that I went for swimming. But I guess it was swimming because it's such a solid work ethic that comes with being a swimmer. I think that's the reason why I got to build the physique that I built, because it was the same kind of work ethic that I had from training, 2 times a day, 2 to 3 hours a session, and just that grind. So it wasn't much for me to just channel that energy back into the gym and then start, when I first got into the gym, I think like a lot of people, you see bigger guys and go, oh man, I want to get bigger. And that was my initial kind of thing with the gym. I'm like, oh, cool. I want it to look like I go to the gym. Like that was I remember that was like my initial goal. I just wanted to look like I went to the gym, because I was obviously like a 80, 85 kilo swimmer physique. And then I guess just my work ethic and my sort of grinding mentality just, helped me train and channel that energy into training in the gym. But, physique sort of training has never ticked the box for me completely. I always had that athletic nature in me. So, and I guess that resonates in my training style, particularly these days where I don't get that sense of achievement just from pumping up the guns, I want to still be able to perform really well.
Yeah, and you can see that for anyone that follows you on Instagram. You look like more of a dude that's training for like a strongman competition than a guy that's training for just to look good. Yeah,
well, in my mind, you know what? One of my favorite quotes when I went and I was sort of doing my research on CrossFit back in the days, I don't like to make an opinion on anything until I'm educated on it. So, when CrossFit first came out, the industry norm was kind of like the bodybuilding style of training.
Yeah.
And everyone was my crowd that I was with was really sort of resistant against the CrossFit thing,
Yeah.
But then I decided I'll go do the course. So I'll learn a little bit more about it. And one of the guys there, I said to him, so, why do you train like this? Like, why do you do CrossFit? And his answer was, I just want to be harder to kill.
That's pretty sick.
And I was like, you know what? No, I like that answer.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I kind of give the example of, like bodybuilders doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
So bodybuilders will do pull-ups to engage the lats and make sure they're using their back to squeeze out the muscle, and feel the lats. Where CrossFitters will do a kip and use momentum to help them get up. And bodybuilders will go, oh no, that's cheating. That's not how you do a pull-up. You're not engaging your lats. But a CrossFitter will go, I don't give a fuck, man. I'm just, in my head, I'm training to get up.
Yeah.
So if I had in the real world, if I had a dog chasing me or something, or I've got to run away for something and pull up, I'm not going to do a strict pull up. I'm actually going to get up. And I kind of meshed both mentalities, and I just do whatever I feel like. I obviously like being big and strong, but I really get that sense of achievement out of being athletic as well.
Is there, I've never been a dude that's been like big or strong, really. And I've often wondered when I look at a dude like you, like you're a big fucking dude, you're a powerful dude. Like, is day-to-day life different from when you're in terms of like, you know what I mean? Like, even opening a fucking van door, like the shit that is like, it's not heavy to me, but I'm sure to you, it doesn't even feel like anything. I've always wondered that.
Well, I don't know, man, because I've only got me to compare it to. So
yeah, but
it's
when
like,
you were like a swimmer, like 88 kilos, it would have been different, right?
Well, the thing that comes to my mind is currently I'm 120 kilos, and I'm happy with my physique. I'm happy with my weight. I'm happy with the way that I move. When I was doing more MMA and jiu-jitsu, I was competing, I got up to 132 kilos.
Fuck.
And I thought I was big and muscly, but now I look back and I was pretty fat. So I remember those days, like 132 kilos is pretty big.
Yeah,
and
that's heavy, eh?
like I would struggle to put on my shoes and stuff like that.
Really?
So I'm not interested in getting back to that sort of stage again. I got a little goal with myself. I don't let my waist, I wear 36 inch pants or size 36 pants. So I make sure that they're never tight. And then that's how I kind of keep myself in check.
But there must be some stuff that's like, you'd even notice that it's like way easier for you to do something than other people.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to sort of compare myself to anyone else because I live in my own body. But I'll tell you what pisses me off is when, if I sell something on Gumtree, I'll sell like a table and they fucking look at me and they go, "Oh, sweet, you'll be able to help us." And they're like, "Oh, you're big and strong." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm big and strong because I train when I train.
And then I rest.
And I rest when I rest. So good luck to you, champ." These poor bastards, man. I had Atlas stones. Do you know what Atlas stones are?
No.
So big concrete balls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And dude, they went from probably 15 to 20 kilos. So a small one, just solid concrete stones, round stones. And because I had the molds. So, and then we poured the concrete into the molds and we made probably I think there was 13 or 14 of them.
Yeah, okay.
And it started at 20 kilos and went all the way to 130 kilos.
Fuck.
And if you know where, like my house, there's no entry to the backyard where you can take a car. So these poor bastards had to pick them all up. And it was true, I'm not lying in case they're listening, I did have a back injury at the time. And I'm like, "Boys, you're on your own. Best of luck." And they were smart. They went and got a towel and they rolled the Atlas stones on the towel and then they both carried the towel. But I was like, man, but people do that to me all the time. If I'm selling like tables or chairs or something, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can help us out."
Dude, there's something weird about Gumtree. Like even my next door neighbor, he was like selling some shit the other day and then they're like, "Oh, can you, what's the best price I'm on a pension?" Or "What's the best price I'm a student?" Or like every single fucking person has like this weird little excuse. It's not just like, "Hey, I'm trying to buy this off you."
Yeah, right.
Fuck it. And it was funny, like in the States they got Craigslist.
Yeah.
So I'd always Craigslist shit.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, like, we just run this thing, like everybody I knew, we used to talk about it. If it wasn't an iPhone, you'd never sell it.
Yeah, right.
It was only the people with iMessage that would actually buy shit.
Why? How's that work?
Because I just think iPhones are expensive.
Yeah.
And if like you could be messaging, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they don't have iMessage.
Yeah.
And fuck, bro, it was almost an infallible rule. Yeah. Like you could almost put money.
So it wasn't coming from an iMessage,
If it wasn't coming from an iMessage, you would not sell it to that person. Everyone that was if it was a green message, it was a time waster. Avoid the green. Yeah, and it was
green doesn't mean go.
Nah, it was a flat rule too, dude. Yeah, like it always works. So like, and then when because I haven't really sold much shit since I've been here because I don't really have that much shit. And then when James was talking about it, he's like, "Fucking this," and I was like, "Did they have iMessage?" He's like, "Nah, they didn't." I was just
no way.
I was like, "Well, that's how that fucking rule works."
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I always wondered. Like I always thought, like, man, one day, like, it'd be sick to just get fucking as big as I could get, just to see if life would be.
It's
any
fun,
different.
man. Yeah. Because I remember going through that stage. Like I was a swimmer, and I guess I needed somewhere to direct my energy and focus, and it was going to be swimming for another 4 years, and I guess we'll get into that later. But I got a scholarship to do my Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness, and just took that on as my new identity.
Yeah. So you are the first Olympian for Malta.
Yeah.
Which is like a pretty crazy story.
Yeah. It's a crazy story. You want me to get into it?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So I mean, I was born and raised here in Australia. My father's Maltese, my mother's Australian. And so that makes me obviously half Maltese. And I believe like the Maltese Olympic Committee or people in Malta were following my swimming career because I was doing all right as I was coming through the ranks as a kid and then getting into the sort of Australian Open divisions. And they basically reached out to me. It was at a point at which where I was almost going to quit swimming in Australia because it sounds pretty harsh, but I just wasn't being coached correctly. And
which later on you sort of found out.
Now I have the knowledge and the tools to understand how and why I wasn't being coached correctly. So, I mean, I was a sprinter. So I was a 50-meter butterflyer and a 100-meter butterflyer. But my curse was I had a really good work ethic. And I was known as, you know, like just being able to train really hard. And I guess all of my swimming coaches took that as a sign to just smash me and just see how far they could push me. The other sort of the other side of the sword was I was almost nationally renowned for dying at the end of my race. So it was really weird that I had this strong work ethic and I could train really hard. But
you were out training everybody.
Yeah, but I just couldn't last 100 meters. You know, I was dying at the 75-meter mark, and that was really frustrating to obviously myself, but also my coaches. And their solution to that problem was, you're not fit enough for the 100-meter butterfly, so we're going to train you for the 200-meter butterfly. And if you just leave it at that and don't know much about energy systems, you go, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense, you know? Yeah, so if he can last 200 meters, then obviously the 100's going to be easy.
Yeah.
But the problem is like all sport and sport specificity, you need to practice your event.
Yeah.
And I wasn't practicing my event because in the 200-meter butterfly, the energy system's completely different. The speed that you swim is completely different. Even down to the technique of your stroke ends up being completely different.
Yeah.
So basically, for a lot of the years of my training, I was not practicing the event that I wanted to race.
Yeah.
And it's a really funny story because I got to the point where I was getting so frustrated with my coaches here in Australia that I started just coaching myself in Australia. And I went and swam at this shitty indoor pool where a really good family friend of ours was still the coach. He taught me how to swim. Now, he didn't have much experience at all training high-level swimmers. And at this stage, I was probably 18, 19. And I was starting to break it onto the national scene and make national finals and come close to medaling. And he would watch me train. And he basically pulled me aside because he gave me a lane. So he was doing his learn to swim stuff, gave me a lane, and he pulled me aside one day and he goes, Ryan, what are you doing? Because I was swimming, 6K twice a day. He goes, mate, what's your event? I said, 100 butterfly. And he goes, well, you want to swim that faster than anyone, right? I said, yeah, of course. He said, well, why don't you practice that?
Keep going, sorry, dude.
So, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I was like, there's a reason that
is,
anyway, sorry, dude.
You're right, man.
So you're swimming like 6Ks twice a day.
Yeah, that's the
when
normal.
You're only doing like a 100-meter race.
My race lasted 50 seconds, but that's just the way swimmers are raised, just to grind, don't ask questions, shut up and do what your coach says. And again, I was almost cursed with the fact that I was a hard trainer. So I was doing stuff that we're used to, repeats, 100-meter repeats, just swimming freestyle, hitting the wall, and then going again, hitting the wall, going again. Now, that's okay aerobically, but it's not cool when your race is anaerobic.
Yeah.
And so basically this guy that had just learned to swim his whole life cornered me and said, why don't you practice your race? And that just was a moment where I went, holy shit, I've got this whole thing wrong. And this guy that's never trained, anyone older than 15 has just sort of, because he was able to think outside the box.
Yeah, he wasn't like in it every day.
Yeah,
because there's a culture, You get coaches, there's like a culture of work, and then it becomes like a thing you're measured against. Like, if you want to make this team, you need to be the one that's going to work, and it becomes a culture. because you'd think of a dude like, you know, say that runs the 800 meters, that their training regime would look so different to a shot putter.
Yeah.
But it's like with the weird thing with, I think, with swimming, and like I thought about this after we first spoke. I was like real interested in the thinking of it. Is like when you're a swimmer, you'll all wear the same Speedos, the same goggles, you swim in the same pool, you go to the event on the same bus. Like it's like a team, right?
Yeah.
But it's an individual sport. And you look at, say, like the 800 meters and shot put, like those motherfuckers wouldn't even see each other ever.
No.
They're not in the same sport. They're not in the same industry. Like the culture's different. The training's different. But I think what like, and again, I was sort of just thinking about it after we spoke, was maybe there's this weird thing where because everyone's on the same team and you're all together, that if you get the 50 meter dudes that are just doing like squats and deadlifts and box jumps and all this explosive shit for like an hour a day, and then they're doing like 4 times running through the 50 meters and then they're done, and all the other dudes are just grinding it out.
Yeah.
I could see that being like a weird thing because it's like you're on the swim team.
Yeah, man, that's
like,
a good, that is a good point because
you'd almost feel like pressured to just do it like the dude doing the 1500.
Yeah, so he's got to be in the water, you know, because he's got an incredibly difficult event and an endurance-based event. You're right, man. So yeah, so that kind of side of the squad have to grind it out and be in the water, and then they'd get jealous of the sprinters over here.
Is that real? Like,
yeah, it's a really good point.
Or
that
is
you brought
that
up.
why they do it? They just keep everyone the same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I'm not a swimming coach, and I wasn't brought up, you know, when I was swimming, I was basically taught, don't ask questions, shut up and do what your coach says. But yeah, like it's just that mentality. I'll tell you a quick story where I remember a guy where he was coming up through the ranks and he was breaking all of Ian Thorpe's records. Like this dude was a weapon. Yeah. Right. And we're only talking the age of like 13, 14, 15. He was a couple of years younger than me.
So breaking Thorpe's records at the comparative age.
Yes. So through the age groups. And I remember, because I was on the New South Wales team at that point, and he was on the same team, and I was sitting with the coaches waiting for a plane. And I remember the coaches talking about him, and he was known for only swimming like 4 times a week, and he'd only swim like 2 or 3 kilometers. Compare that to most other swimmers that swim 10 to 12 times a week, 6K a session. It was interesting hearing the coaches comment on him because he was doing so well. And you would think they would take a note out of his book and go, oh, well, look, he's doing really specific training. He's never tired. He's just always high performance. Instead of that, I remember, and I still remember to this day, that the coaches were saying, yeah, but imagine how good he'd be if he trained more. You know, if he trained 10 times a week and did 6K, imagine how good he'd be then. Rather than looking at him and going, well, maybe he's good because of what he's doing. And that's, you know, that was the mindset of this guy that pulled me aside when I was just swimming this shitty indoor pool. I had 3 months to prepare for an Australian National Championship, Open Nationals. And the end of that story is, after he had that conversation with me, I said, you're my new coach. You're going to start coaching me. And he did. And it was just kind of weird. It was really fun. He was just coaching me. And I ended up swimming so fast that year that I made it onto the NSWIS team, the New South Wales Institute of Sport team, and the points, because they give you a point score compared to how close you are to the world record. Well, I got so many points that coach, who was just a learn to swim coach, was actually appointed as an NSWIS coach. Really? So he's hilarious, man. If you knew him, he was just a funny old guy. So he starts rocking up to this little Tweed indoor pool where he's wearing like the N-Swiss jackets and stuff, just loving life, because it was just this really weird 3 months where I completely changed my training. And long story short, I swam faster than I ever had under anyone else's guidance.
And how much less were you swimming?
Oh, maybe less than a quarter of what I was actually doing beforehand.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
I just went to the mentality of practicing my event.
Yeah.
Rather than swimming training.
Yeah.
You know, you used to show up to swimming training to do swimming training. Then I changed my mindset to practice my event. Yeah. And then everything sort of fell into place. And then I couldn't keep that up forever because just he couldn't keep doing it because it wasn't his business. His business was learn to swim. So I ended up moving up the coast, and again fell back into that old trap of, you know, another swimming coach, and then, you know, doing too much work and not being specific enough. Didn't perform very well. and I was ready to quit. And then Malta just seemed to reach out at the perfect sort of point in time, and they basically said, let's create history. Let's get you to qualify for the Olympics. So it wasn't just a gimme.
They probably could have done the gimme thing though, right?
Yes. So how that works is if there's a country that doesn't have any athletes that qualify, they basically get like a gimme or a wild card.
Yeah.
And that's where Eric the Eel came from. Remember back in Sydney Olympics. So obviously he didn't qualify for the Olympics. If you remember him, he swam, I don't know, something like 2 minutes or something for the 100-meter freestyle. He was a whole lap behind everyone else. He could barely swim, yet he was at the Olympics for swimming.
Which I think there's like merit in that.
Oh, absolutely.
If it doesn't cost someone else's sport.
No, yes, absolutely. And that's part of the Olympic
spirit.
Spirit. Yes. Everyone gets to be involved, and we celebrate sport. And that was a really beautiful moment that I'm sure anyone that watches Sydney Olympics, I'm sure they remember who Eric the Eel was.
Where was he from? Somewhere in Africa, right?
It was like, it was an African country, where they didn't even really have a pool or anything. If you don't have an athlete qualify, then you basically get a wild card for a male and a female, I believe.
Yeah.
But that's where Malta wanted to do something different, and they wanted an athlete that qualified for the Olympics.
Yeah.
So it was also a perfect opportunity for me to stretch my legs, and it forced me to start studying human performance and how I can swim better, because I was determined that if I wanted to represent the country, I wanted to live there.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. I could have just lived here and swum under the coaches here and gone and represented them. I wanted to do it right, but it also gave me an opportunity to just get away from Australian swimming, the coaches that I had and the mentality that I had, and kind of take a risk and a leap of faith and trust in the new mentality that I had. And I reduced my workload in the pool. I started training in the gym. And I guess that's what kind of got me to where I am today, because I didn't have a coach.
Yeah.
So for a whole year, I sort of just coached myself. Didn't have any other swimmers in a squad. Didn't have a coach looking over me to tell me I'm doing good. I just had to trust in myself. And then that kind of opens up a whole new sort of story where, after a year of swimming by myself, living by myself, it was cool. Like, I think it changed me for life, because sometimes I now crave that isolation, because I lived in this country where I didn't really know anyone. I only had one focus.
You didn't speak Maltese?
No, not at the time. I kind of learned a bit here and there, but I just ride my bike to the pool, swim, ride my bike home, have something to eat, sleep. I was studying by correspondence.
And what was that when you started doing your human performance style courses? Or what were you studying
that was unofficial. So I was studying sports management. Okay. So I began a degree at Bond, and then I kind of finished it through like Open University, so all sort of online stuff while I was out of the country. But then, of course, on the side, I had to start researching about how to be a good swimmer, because I didn't know anything. I just shut up and listened to my coaches.
Yeah, so, you never knew the why behind it.
Yeah, no, I just did what I was told.
But you didn't know why you did it.
Yeah, so after a year of that and not really having anyone, even with a stopwatch or telling me that I'm swimming well, I stood up on the blocks in, I believe it was Eindhoven in the Netherlands. And that was the European Championships in 2017.
Yeah.
And 2007. And I got up on the blocks, goggles on, ready to race, basically ready to qualify for the Olympics. And the only thought I had in my head was, oh no, what if I'm shit?
I don't even know how fast
I don't even know how fast I'm going, because I didn't have a coach timing me. I didn't have anything. So it was all just off feel. And long story short, thank God, I swam really quick. So I swam faster than I'd ever swum in Australia, which that was a real feather in my cap, and stuff that, no one else knows. That meant a lot to me. And I remember I hit the wall, looked at the time, and I can't remember what the time was, but I remember knowing that I just qualified for the Olympics. I made Olympic standard qualifying time. And man, my goggles just filled with water because I was just crying. And, I knew my parents and my family were watching online and stuff. And so it was a huge moment for me, mate. Like,
because that's literally a life's work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So since I was, 5 years old, I knew I wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. And my pathway to that is really unique. And, people ask me all the time, oh, you went to the Olympics. Oh, did you win a medal? And I'm like, no, I didn't even come close, And like, oh, you didn't win. No, I didn't beat Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
He is the best ever.
Yeah.
But I was there and I qualified and I deserved to be there. And the path that got me there is really unique and really, really special to me and something that I'll sort of be proud of for the rest of my life.
Do you remember, because I've been thinking, like, we did the podcast with Jack Freestone the other day.
Yeah.
And his first ever wave was at Kira and he got pushed into it. And then just that Cyclone Oma swell that came through a month or so ago.
Yeah.
He got like the craziest wave of Kira ever, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it was almost like I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, this is like a bookend of your life.
No way,
it's almost like a chapter it's like you're still living your life, but it's like, okay, you could be pretty pumped on that. Like this is a very handy bookend. First wave ever, best wave ever, and then everything that's in between.
Yeah.
Is there was that sort of what it felt like when you qualified for the Olympics? That it's like you start swimming and this is your whole life's goal, because the Olympics as a swimmer, like that's really it.
Yeah.
Like that's the Tour de France sort of thing.
Yeah.
So then it's like to qualify, is it almost like you close in a loop and putting that in a box is like, fuck, that's done.
Yeah, man. There was a sense of relief that I'd done it. And that was before I even went, so when I had qualified and I knew, I had that ticket, I was going to the Olympics.
That would be the place where when you qualified, you'd be like,
reckon,
fuck, I've done it.
Now that you bring that up, I reckon there was almost thinking about it. I had to kind of shock myself back into being focused.
Yeah.
Because, I was so focused on qualifying for the Olympics. Like, oh shit, now I've got to swim there. So I better, pick it up again. And obviously that's not hard having that kind of goal in mind. Train my ass off for there was probably another 3 or 4 months, maybe even 5 or 6 months before I actually went to the Olympics, which I believe was October 2008. And that was in Beijing in China. And to be honest, that's all just a blur. I had to get back into training, train my ass off. And then I still swam again. I did another PB at the Olympics, so I still swam faster than I'd ever swum under Australian swimming or under anyone else. So that was well over a year of coaching myself. And I got there, and luckily, I was with Team Malta. And obviously I knew a few people on the Australian team, and I'd built a relationship with the Spanish team, and my best friend even to date, Ashley Callis, who was a triple Olympian, world record holder. Yeah. All the respect in the world. He's my best friend, and he's like an older brother to me. And, I didn't have the luxuries that the Australian team had. And so Ash would sort of sneak me, back when we had the suits, the racing suits and stuff like that. So Ash, he made sure I was looked after. So
was 2008 like the full shark suit year?
Yeah, it was. I believe it might have even been the last year where we could wear the full suit. So I used to wear like the singlet style top with the long legs. Yeah. Because I was a butterfly. So I had that freedom with my shoulders. So, man, Ash sort of, he took me under his wing there. He was a bit of a veteran when it comes to the Olympics, and he knows how much I love him and respect him for that. Yeah,
that's pretty rad, eh?
Yeah.
Do you remember a lot about like that week, or did it just go by so
honestly,
quickly?
Mate, nah. I kind of remember being there and I had a few interesting experiences. I got to hang out with Rafael Nadal, and because I had a good relationship with the Spanish team. Yeah. And so that was cool. You're famous when you walk into the Olympic Village and everyone else there is an Olympian. And they're taking photos. Rush, they rush over and start getting, your photo and autograph and stuff like that. So that was him. I had a really good experience.
How did that hang? Like, so what way were you hanging out? Like, you
just part of the Spanish team. So I went and did a training camp in Malaga in Spain and Barcelona in Spain with the Spanish Olympic team. Yeah. And so obviously the swimmers that I knew on that team were sort of friends with him as well. So we got to sort of hang out, and
that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Huh. Rafael Nadal.
Yeah. Who was like at that time? I can't remember his name because I don't follow basketball that closely. But one of the most famous basketball players, but this was in 2008 in the USA team.
Wonder who that would have been.
Kobe Bryant.
Oh, Kobe.
Yeah, it was Kobe Bryant. So I was, because at that stage, it was 2008, and so we had little huts where you could access the internet. So you had to go down to the hut to access the internet. And I see all these people like rushing. This is in the Olympic Village. All these people rushing one way, and then all of a sudden the whole crowd starts moving towards me. I'm looking up from this hut, and I see it's Kobe Bryant, and he's got 2 security guards, all the Olympic athletes just crowding him. And he actually ended up coming into the hut that I was in on the internet just to get a break from everybody. So I'm sitting there on the computer. Kobe Bryant walks in. His 2 security guards stop people at the door.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, man, what's up? And Kobe's like, hey, bro, how you doing?
That's insane.
Yeah, that's when you know you're famous, man. You're getting hassled in the Olympic Village by Olympians.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that is pretty gnarly, eh?
Yeah.
Fuck, what was I gonna... There was something I was gonna say on that. Oh, one of my mates, Chris Wright, he was a Olympic swimmer as well. Yeah. And he was saying that like that it was just so crazy, like the sex between like everybody in the Olympic Village, like all the athletes.
I don't think that's even a secret. Hey, like that's just a pretty well known fact. Yeah.
How fucking crazy is that? Like, why do you think that is?
Oh, mate, everyone's so wound up and everyone's so focused on what they're doing, and then everyone just blows out after their event.
As soon as their event's done.
Swimming, we're lucky, man, because we're the first event. So some swimmers actually miss out on going to the opening ceremony because they have to race so soon after. So I think it's a rule in the Australian swim team. If you got to race the next day, you don't go to the opening ceremony, which would be devastating.
Was it a cool experience?
Oh man, that's my favorite experience of the Olympics. So I was actually really, really blessed and lucky as well in the fact that I got to carry the flag for Malta at the closing ceremony. Yeah. So they were rattling off some stats, like it's like 0.00017 of people can call themselves an Olympian, and then 0.00000 people say they carried the flag for their country. So, you know, nowadays, like I definitely have a lot of respect and appreciation for me being half Maltese, and you know, I love that country, and I'm really proud that I carried the flag for them at the closing ceremony. But being there at the opening ceremony as well, man, like 80,000 people just going mental, and you know, like it was in Beijing in China, so they put on a pretty beautiful show. Yeah. But man, like just an experience I'll never forget. But the actual experience does come in blurs because I was on such a high. Yeah,
that's been something I've been thinking about a bit lately. Is just there's so many times in my life too that were like such a blur. Like I don't really. They're like really cool things that I wish I had more recollection of. Yeah. But it just seemed like I was so focused and so under the pump at the time that I never actually, I didn't truly process it. And I think back on like, even, because I'll get people that'll be like, oh, remember we did this trip? And I'm like, nah. Like I literally don't remember a trip that involved multiple aeroplanes and then, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, oh, I wish, I don't know. And I wonder whether like that's my fault. For like having my head up my ass and like maybe, I don't being know, off with the fairies or whatever.
One thing that I kind of wish was around and more present in 2008 was social media and you know the use of our phones and the ability to capture everything as well. Yeah. Because it was just kind of before that cusp where you know there was
like super mainstream.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, because now like you just go through your phone to see. What
everything, your whole life's right there, you know. So I'll scroll through my Instagram and be down. I'm like, oh yeah, I did that, you know, something with Bloss, or you know, it's a cool recollection of memories.
It's weird because we'd have like our brain would have to be similar to a hard drive. Like there's a certain amount of space like
that we can cram in.
Yeah, like until we get some kind of like iCloud feature where we can like upload memories and shit. Like you'd have to think that. So, like, there is so much fucking dope shit I've just completely forgotten I've done. Like, straight up, like, races I've been to, fucking film trips with big name people, don't remember. Yeah. It's fucking gnarly, dude. Like, but it's like, I think that the average person before social media would, like, never have run into that problem. But I think now that with how much info you can actually even... just like take in on a daily basis. That it's like, I feel like everyone's going to run into that problem.
Yeah, just run out of space.
Run out of fucking room because like there's so much shit coming at us.
Yeah, you're right, man. But yeah, the whole Olympics thing, like bits and pieces are just blurs, and then.
Do you remember swimming the race?
No,
really?
I don't remember the race. No, I remember being behind like just before we walked out. And I remember I left my towel. I had a towel that I wanted to bring and wipe down the block. It was like my lucky towel, and I don't know where that is. I lost that, and it was actually one of the first times I'd ever experimented with caffeine. So I barely even drank coffee or anything. And, you know, I did a little bit of research on performance with caffeine, and I think I popped something like 3 or 4 no-dose tablets. And
Really?
I never even really played with caffeine before. So I reckon that's probably got a big thing to do with why I don't remember anything. I was just buzzing and ready to go. But yeah, I still swam fast. I swam faster than I ever had. And I just missed the semi-finals. So that was my goal, to break it into the finals. But you know what, man? I still really hold my head high just for the fact of how I performed. You know, I performed the best that I possibly could.
Yeah.
With probably nowhere near as many resources as many other people.
Do you think though? So you're in Malta. You're doing your own thing. You're not really having stopwatches and stuff around you. Do you think that if you had that same, you used your same like new philosophy, but had like an infrastructure behind you, do you think you could have gone better again?
Oh, I hate being that guy, man. I hate being that guy. But
I mean, really, like,
I mean, it's hard not to. It's hard not to say. Well, I guess it's like anyone, right? If I knew what I know now back then, I'm positive I would have had a better career.
Yeah.
But that's not very productive to think like that.
That's
I guess.
true.
You know, all I can do now, and I guess that's why I take my job as a strength and conditioning coach and a performance coach so seriously, because I do know the effect of giving people the right advice or giving people the wrong advice. So I really take my job seriously when it comes to advising athletes, because you send them down a road, and that road could either lead them to their goal or it could literally lead them away from their goal, which I believe some coaches were leading me, not intentionally, but they were leading me away from my goal. Yeah,
no, it makes sense. Was it a fun year though, like the year in Malta?
Yeah.
It would have been challenging, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of neutral with everything because I was just so focused.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes I missed that focus. I had blinkers on. I didn't care about anything. I was just training, and I knew that I was going to the Olympics. So I can't say it was fun. I can't say it was hard. I feel really just neutral about it all.
Yeah. Just so focused.
I was so focused, man. I miss that a little bit.
Dude, my only thing to relate to that was going to Thailand for like the jiu-jitsu camp.
Yeah.
It was just like 2 days, and it was like I was giving it 100% for every session that I was there.
Yeah.
And then I was exhausted.
And just nothing else mattered.
No, I just didn't care. Like,
dude, I miss that feeling. I miss that feeling when nothing else matters. I've got so many things that matter right now that I have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
But, dude, that's I've just had a moment. Like, I really crave where nothing else matters. I could just train or just focus on one thing.
Because I get that when I do jiu-jitsu. Like, I'll go to the gym, and when you're doing the drills and the technique stuff, your mind can wander a bit, and you can sort of be there and you can not be there.
Yeah.
But when you're actually live and you're sparring, like you have to be there. Like I'm never anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I think that more than anything is what I crave every day.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, fuck, here's a thing that makes nothing else matter.
Yeah.
And I can do that every single day.
Yeah,
and that's why,
that's a nice point.
Yeah, and that's why, like my dad, like even last night, because I went up to my parents last night for dinner, and I was like, oh, well, I'm going to train, so we'll do dinner when I get home from training. And it's like a bit of a fuck around. Like I get there and then I go and then I come back, but it's just like, and Dad's like, oh, you're always sore, like, you know, it can't be that fun. And it's not that it is that fun, I don't think. What I think that the more enticing part of it, or the thing that sucks you in, is the fact that like I do have a lot, like I'm the same, like I've got so much fucking shit on my mind all the time, every day. Like even driving up yesterday, Ricky's like, oh, you're not saying much, and I'm like, just fucking thinking. Like I've got so much shit that I'm trying to get done that I can't not think about it. But
it's hard to be present.
Oh, so fucking
that I've
hard.
been doing a lot of sort of self-assessment and work with, just trying to be present and just controlling the things I can control and letting the things go that I can't. And as you know, I've had a big, hard couple of years.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm at a stage where I'm learning a lot about myself and reading a lot more, about my sort of feelings when it comes to like depression, anxiety, and the stuff that I've been through. Man, this has been such a huge year for me.
Yeah, and I think that when you find those things that can take you out of whatever it is you've got going on, even if it's for an hour a day or whatever, but then to get back to the professional sportsman thing, it's like, imagine it's so hard to do physically, and it's so hard to do mentally, and you've got to be on, and the injuries and the, like the rehab and all the bullshit that goes with being a professional athlete. But for your career, if you're a dude that's funded to train, like, you literally only have to worry about yourself in like a really small bubble, like eat, sleep, recover, train, study, whatever. But it's like, it's pretty freeing to just be able to shut out everything else, because like us in our lives now, like, we only get that opportunity. I train an hour a day, you train, I don't know how many times a day, probably a bit more, but it's like, that's your time. But then like, once it's done, it's like, fuck,
you
back
gotta
to
fit
reality.
everything else in. I mean, that's something that I struggled with after my swimming career, because I was so proud and so happy to identify myself as a swimmer, and I had a chip on my shoulder, I went around thinking that, well, because I'm a swimmer, so I felt like I had that sort of higher place. But as soon as that swimming career finished, I went through it, and I know that, the guys that had more success than me and were more identified, on a public level, everyone struggles with, I believe it's with that self-identity sort of issue, because after the Olympics, I had an opportunity where I had a scholarship, and like I said, I had a relationship with the Spanish team, and I was going to take this scholarship to swim and train in Barcelona for 4 years. And obviously that 4 years was supposed to lead me up to London 2012 Olympics.
Yeah. And how old would you have been at London?
I believe, because I worked it out, I believe I would have been like 27 or 28 at London.
So that's like top end of Olympian swimmers.
Yeah, it would have been a great time for me. I would have been in my prime probably. Yeah,
you sort of are in your late 20s.
But yeah, again, it was my mate Ash Callis that kind of, he pulled me aside when we came back. So we came after the Olympics, we came back to the Gold Coast, and he pulled me aside and he said, mate, because he knew that I was really waiting on this scholarship. And I had this moment with him where I panicked, and I was like, shit, what if that scholarship doesn't come through? Because that was going to be my whole life for 4 years. Board, rent, food, travel, everything paid for and accommodated for. And all I had to do was swim, and then up until London 2012. And he said to me, oh, mate, you're going to be, after London, you'll be like 27, 28, and you won't really have anything, because he was more than happy to tell me I was never going to be an Olympic medalist, and that's okay. I can admit that. And he goes, mate, you're already an Olympian. Being a dual, no one will ever take that away from you. Being a dual Olympian is cool, but he goes, why don't you have a look at, he was the one that said, why don't you have a look at being a PT? Or he goes, you'd be a really good strength coach. And it's because of him that I kind of, it was funny, man, because how everything happens. There was one day where I had the contract in front of me for Barcelona, and then I also had a scholarship to do my Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness. And I actually ended up taking the Cert 3 and Cert 4, and that was something that that was a huge gamble that I thought I may regret. And I remember telling myself, when the Olympics are on in 2012, I'm going to stand back and have a look at and assess my life and see if I made the right choice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And I still
can't.
Like
forced accountability.
Yeah. I still can't answer that. I don't know whether I made the right choice or not.
Yeah. I mean, you got Bloss.
Well, there you go.
Like, that's sort of probably all you need to look at, like you wouldn't have her if you didn't.
That's right.
You didn't do
that's more than enough for me, man.
What was what connected you with like the Spanish team? Like what
that was just a link in the Maltese Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
One of the staff in the Olympic Committee had a friend in the Spanish Olympic Committee, and that just kind of built a relationship for myself. And then they invited me over for a few swimming camps and stuff with their Olympic team.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much how it went. It was pretty cool.
Did the Malta team, did they really go all out for you? Was it a pretty cool thing just to be a part of, just the unicorn, you know, like you're like
that was so like
one.
I mean obviously resources and that are so limited compared to other sort of bigger countries, but yeah, no, I felt very, very welcome and very catered for and very well looked after and respected, and it was cool, man. Like, you know, I had my little moment, my little 15 minutes over there. It was a pretty big deal in the media and stuff like that. So I love my experience. You know, I love the way I went about it. I'm proud of myself. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
Have you been back since you lived over there?
No. So, I mean, I'm planning on it, but obviously straight after the Olympics, I threw myself into the strength and conditioning industry, and you know me, I don't really do anything by halves. So yeah, I threw myself into and that's why, you know, I got bigger and stronger quick, because it's all I did. I lived and breathed it. I needed somewhere to direct that discipline, energy, and focus from swimming. I threw it into my industry. So 6 months after doing like the course, I was teaching the course. Yeah. So cool. I was running my own personal training business, but then I was also teaching Cert 3 and Cert 4. And that was, you know, to date, probably one of my favorite gigs in the industry, because, I don't know, I guess I just resonate mostly as a teacher, and people that train underneath me would probably agree with that. Yeah. You know, I've got to be careful sometimes, because I can just, you know, start chatting too much and explaining why we're doing this, where some people don't give a shit, man. Like, they just want to train.
Yeah, be told what to do.
Yeah. But the teacher in me is always trying to explain why and what the science and the concept behind this, or, you know. Yeah. Some people just want to shut up and train, which is a great attitude as well.
Where do you reckon all that, like, because, you know, you see the way that you do train, it's like you're fucking possessed, you know, like you're going that hard, but it's like, do you think it just like the swimming side of things came from just the swimming side of things, or was it like there was just some fucking weird demons you had your whole life that you needed that exertion to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
was it like
it's more so
nature or nurture?
No, it's more so not knowing any different.
Yeah,
you know,
so you
like
think you were just conditioned?
I've swum since the age of 5, and I've trained hard since the age of 5. So I really didn't know any different, and I've seen that a few times where I've had clients come to me, they've never trained in their whole life. They've come to me and I've kicked their ass, you know, like just expose them to this world of like difficult, hard training, and then they don't know any different because they've never trained with anyone else and they've never done any physical exercise before. So I get them to the point, say maybe 3 months in, and they might bring a friend in with them, and then their friend is like, what the fuck, you know, like that they didn't expect this person to be training that hard, and then that person will turn around and go, what, I thought this was training, but they just don't know any different. And that's kind of how I feel like it happened for me, and why I train, because I don't think I train that crazy, but obviously the feedback is most people go, oh man, you're a monster. Yeah. But that's just what I do, man.
Yeah, because I wonder, like, you know, because then is it just like a case of you're just so conditioned that it's just like this thing that you've just always done.
It's that, but then I also have the conversation where I know that I train best when it comes from a dark place. Yeah. You know, like I know everyone...
I don't have that at all.
So I do, man. Like if there's someone I dislike or someone I want to prove wrong, then I'm on, you know, and then I'll visualize that while I'm training, and I train the best that I train, when it comes from a dark place. And that whole sort of journey over to Malta and all that was a dark place, because of course I had all my coaches in Australia, and
everyone
you know,
would have been saying, you fucking don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Watch this, don't fail.
And then I just say, watch this.
Yeah. I like a bit of the watch this kind of thing. Like, I can do this, but like, fuck, I feel like, because I've thought about that too, of like why there's different people that it's like they just go fucking savage dark mode. Yeah. And then I just go Zen mode. Like, I'm just sort of doing it just like, that's just like it's supposed to be like calming in a way.
Yeah, well, I would say most people would promote the fact that, everything should come from a positive place, focus on the good thing, stuff like that. But for me, training, when I get down and dark, when I think about it though, like I do, if I'm having a shit day and I'm like, fuck, I feel like going and training will
get that out. Like it's an outlet, but I don't feel like I'm channeling any of it while I'm doing it.
Well, it's not something that I do in martial arts. It's more so the weights. You know, like I can take it out on the weights. But if we were rolling or something, I wouldn't be visual. You know, then I probably am more calm. You know, like if we were sparring or rolling, you know, I wouldn't say the demons come to me then. It's more like, that's more of just a happy sort of movement type place. But with the weights, at least, you know, the weights are nothing. I just throw them around.
I wonder then, because I don't really do weights. I wonder if
whether it would come out.
If it would, because like it makes sense. Like I'm sitting here thinking it now, doing a deadlift, being like, "Fuck you, can't," you know, like going heavy. But yeah, that
you can't be a nice guy and lift heavy weights. Yeah, you got to be a bit angry.
Yeah, I suppose I've never really lifted too much fucking heavy shit either.
Yeah, I'll get you angry, mate.
Who was who gave you the sponsorship to do the Cert 3, Cert 4?
Just a guy that had a company here on the Gold Coast, and so I reached out to them, and then they were like, "Yeah, cool. Well, we're happy to bring you on board." And then he taught me a lot. He taught me everything I knew at the beginning, and then just like anything, you go down your own path and start to learn new things. Ended up opening my own gym, and the whole concept with that gym was to be recognized as the best place to receive personal training, and I'm pretty sure I achieved that. It was a really, really cool gym back in the day, but same thing, you know, life goes on, and I outgrew that and started doing my own thing, and you know, I've ended up at KDV Sport, which is incredible, and that facility, man,
it's a crazy facility.
It's an incredible facility, and over the last few years working with a lot of tennis players and golfers, and but now I'm at a stage where I am getting back to focusing on sort of general fitness, and just what I've gone through over the last couple of years. Just, you know, everything just shapes the person that you are, and that's why right now I'm sort of developing a new program that I'm calling the 2080 Pursuit, and that's something I'm really, really excited about. That'll be kicking off in only a couple of weeks.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
What when you first started the training side of things, did you have like a particular lane that you wanted to go in, or was it just you'd sort of take what you could get? Because you don't seem like the kind of person that's just like going to do something and then be like, oh, I'll just see what comes up.
No, I wouldn't class myself as that either. But initially, because I didn't know a lot about the industry. I didn't know a lot about anything, man. Like I was just this swimmer for 24 years. That's all I did. It's all I knew. So when I got into the industry, I didn't know a lot about it. So yeah, I just knew that that's going to be my job now. You know, I never had a bloody job before. Yeah. So that's going to be my job. So yeah, just I think a lot of people that get into the personal training industry want to work with athletes, and but that takes a lot of time, and you got to get the respect and the reputation before, you know, people that compete reach out to you for advice. I think that's a pretty big deal, you know, like when competitive athletes reach out to me and ask me my opinion on what they should be doing, like that's something that shouldn't be taken lightly, you know, and hence why I make sure I'm always up to date with research. I'm always reading. I'm always training myself. The area where I probably learn the most is when I train myself. Yeah. You know, I always pick up on subtleties that, you know, different ways I can explain techniques or different exercises, or just come up with new exercises and overcome a problem like an injury or something like that. It's just never ending. Yeah. It's a crazy industry in the way that it changes too. Oh yeah. And it's like you've almost got to be so on top of trends, like the whole... it was like CrossFit, and then I think CrossFit was too gnarly for people. Yeah. For like, I don't think it's a very sustainable model. Like I think that there's people that, I mean, I've got friends going super hard in CrossFit for like a year, 2 years, and then they can't keep up that pace. Yeah. And then I think that out of that come like this functional F45 style training, and it just seems like it's this never-ending thing of like what's on trend. Yeah, well, when I came into the industry around that 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, 12, that was all like bodybuilding focus. So everyone trained like a bodybuilder. Yeah. That was, you know, that's pretty much what everyone did. Then, you know, the CrossFit thing sort of started. And you can certainly scale it, you know, like scale it back when it comes to CrossFit, but, you know, one of the problems with CrossFit is they're always chasing time. So everything's done on the clock and you're trying to do a better time. And that's where, form and technique can kind of fall out of the window because you're in a rush. Yeah. You're in a rush to do a faster time. And that's where a lot of the injuries come from. But again, you got to remember, like, CrossFit is designed to break you.
Yeah.
It's not designed to injure you, but
break you.
Yeah, it's designed to, but that's for guys like, that compete at the CrossFit Games. Those guys are almost, they're bomb-proof, like they're unbreakable. And that's what's amazing about watching the sport. The problem comes when guys like you and I that aren't CrossFit Games athletes go, oh, cool, I'm going to go and try that. Well, we need to scale it back, because the idea. So, for example, a snatch, one of the most technically difficult lifts there are. Dude,
if anyone hasn't tried Olympic lifting, it's fucking awkward.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite style of lifting and favorite form of training. I'm managing a few injuries at the moment that don't let me train the way that I want to train. Yeah. If I could, I'd just be doing probably Olympic style lifting hard out. But like CrossFit will make you do like a 500 meter row and then do 20 snatches. It's like,
as quick as you can.
Why would you do that? Why would you prescribe like something as difficult as a hard out row and then get straight into the most technical lift there is and do high repetitions of it? Well, the reason is to challenge you and break you. Like, it's supposed to be difficult. Yeah. But that's scaled up to those guys that compete on that kind of level, and they can take that. Yeah, they can handle it. We can't.
Isn't it funny you get those dudes? Like, I know a couple of guys that just like want to be in the hurt locker. Yeah. Like Mike Sleater, he came on the podcast. He's one of those dudes, like, doesn't look like much of a fucking savage, but like, you put that dude on a road bike, just wants to be in the hurt locker. Yeah, this random dude that works for fucking Honda in America, he's just like, he does their press bikes and stuff. Yeah. Fucking animal. Just lives in the hurt locker, just wants to be there. Yeah. And like, I feel like those dudes that are in the CrossFit, it's like you're either a fucking Navy SEAL or you're in the CrossFit Games. Like, there's just some of those dudes just love the punishment. Like, they just want to torture themselves.
Like, it's cool. Like, I love CrossFit for what it is, I love the way that they have their workouts and that everything's online and you can sort of check and see how you compete against everyone else. Like, that's really cool. But yeah, the fitness industry comes in trends, and then we kind of moved away from that, and now it's all the functional style training and stuff like that.
Which seems like it's a pretty good thing.
Some of those companies like F45 and places
they
like that
water it down a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's about I believe that's about atmosphere. So it gets people moving. So technically, on paper, scientifically, may not be the most efficient way to train for results. Yeah. But it certainly gets people up and moving, and the number one thing in nutrition and training is sustainability. Yeah. And if you're having a good time and you're showing up, then by all means, just keep going. Yeah. As long as it's safe, just keep going. Yeah. But so people like me, I could sit there and break it down and go, well, actually, that's not the most efficient way to train for the results that you want. Yeah. And you should be doing sets of 8 to 12 at this kind of weight and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? If you're showing up and having a good time, then that's probably the best way to train for you.
Yeah, and it's like designed for the lowest common denominator. Yeah. Really. Yeah. Like the people that are the New Year's, New Me kind of people, you know? And it's not knocking them. Like, there needs to be that place. Like, you couldn't go to a hardcore CrossFit gym and be, just like, I'm going to try and lose a couple kilos.
Have that similar kind of,
it's like horses for courses kind of thing. Yeah. But it does... Like that to me, and especially like we live in the Instagram era, and I think that like you'd probably be able to speak on that. Like, Instagram's probably been one of the biggest changes to the fitness industry.
Oh man, I believe we are like way ahead of the curve when it comes to industries using social media. Yeah, fitness. I work with tennis coaches and golf coaches in my facility, and those guys almost give me shit for the kind of social media that I'm so active on social media. I'm like, you guys have no idea, because if I'm not active on social media, then people forget about me and they'll start thinking about someone else, you know? And that's how my industry works. When I'm, active and people are noticing me, that's when, they're at a family barbecue or something and someone says, oh, geez, I need to lose some weight. They're like, oh, you got to go see Ryan, I follow him on this, or get in contact with him. It's so easy. I think us as fitness professionals really have to leverage social media to our advantage. And I think we're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
You know, making it, particularly here on the Gold Coast in Australia, like there's more,
this
know,
would
PTs
be one of
and
the most competitive markets.
Yeah, man, like it's hard. And that's another feather in my cap that I wear proudly. You know, like I feel like I kind of made it in the fitness industry in a place where it's probably the hardest to make it.
It's like the Hollywood of fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, man. And I still don't recommend the industry. People come to me for industry advice all the time, or like, oh, do you think I should get into it? It's really hard for me to recommend it because it's just so cutthroat.
Fucking grind constantly.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's funny you said before, like, they're not thinking about me, they're thinking about someone else.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, isn't it weird how it's like this breeding ground of insecurity though too? Because it's like, that's like the old saying, for every hot chick, there's a dude tired of fucking her.
Yeah, yeah,
and it's like, for every stick trainer, there's a dude that's fucking sick of lifting for him.
Yeah,
like, you could just apply that everywhere. And I think with fitness, there's so much stuff where it's like so easy to get into a rut because it is a rut. Like, if you want to do well in fitness, you need to be in a rut and stay in a rut.
Yeah.
It's fucking as simple as that.
You got to stay active with your education, and you got to stay hungry. And that's why, you know, so many people come and go, because they come into the industry like just fucking hellfire, and they love the industry and they love fitness, and you know, they're all about it. And then that wears off after a year or two, and then you never see them again. Yeah. I don't know why I've lasted this long. You know, I think I'm into my 11th or 12th year in the industry.
It's because you really want it.
Yeah, I love it, you know, and I keep reinventing myself, and I keep finding new ways. So that's, you know, this 2080 pursuit that I'm kicking off in a couple of weeks. You know, that's made me hungry again. That's made me really excited again, because to me it's a whole new concept with training, and the 2080 really resonates with me being, so I named it 2080 after like Pareto's law, sort of stating that 80% of effects come from, say, 20% of cause. So, or more easily put, you know, what's the 20% that you can focus on that's going to reap you the majority of results?
Dude, I totally agree with that.
It's present everywhere, and something that I've been focused on in life, in finance, in business, and obviously in training. So I really pride myself on being, I love the words efficient and effective, you know, so I pride myself on being an efficient and effective coach. So what I think I'm good at is identifying your 20. You know, I can identify your 20%, tell you this is where you should focus, and that's where you're going to get the majority of results. If we go outside of that 20%, you know, like when you're ready for that, we'll start venturing outside of there. But really, if you focus on these, you know, these few key factors, they're going to get you the majority of results. And it's weird in the fitness industry, man, because people like nutrition, for example. The number one question that I get asked about nutrition is, what supplement should I take? Yeah. Dude, that's your 1%. Like, dude, we talked about this last time. That's only going to bring, and I think I told you a story. I love this story, man. One of my really good mates, he did my program, and it was a 12-week program. I had 8 guys, and I came into the gym one day, and all these guys had surrounded my mate, Andrew Rock, and he had put on like 10 kilos, he lost a bunch of fat, put on heaps of muscle, and all the guys were around him, and he was looking awesome. And they were like, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you taking? What are you taking? Yeah. And I could see, because I stood back on purpose, and I could see on their face, they were waiting for him to say, here's I'm taking this supplement. Here, I'm taking this pill, you know? And he was awesome, because he looked at me, and then he looked at them, and he goes, I'm following the program. Yeah. You know, and we all know, like, the other guys weren't, you know, like I wrote this program, all of my knowledge, all of my education, I poured my heart and soul into this program, and out of the 8 guys, one of them followed it and he killed it, and the other guys were like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, you literally have the plan right in front of you. I followed the program. But no one wants to hear that it's just hard work and consistency. Yeah. You know, so that's what I'm about this year. Just focusing on and getting my individual clients, keeping it really individualized, and working out what their 20 is. Yeah. And then I write their program, and then they come and jump on board, and then I kick their ass. And how long is these programs? Usually 12 weeks is usually a good sort of stage, but I like to break it up in, say, weeks of 4 or 6. So try and keep them focused on just that 4, so it doesn't seem like such a stretch. Yeah. And then introduce the next stage after that 4 weeks, or so on and so forth. Yeah. Well, that whole, like, people focusing on the 1% thing is like one of my fucking pet peeves of like people that are like, they'll just
that it's like they're after one magic thing, or they're after one piece of advice, or they're after one little. It's like it's just not there, man. Like, and that's the same as people that, like, I've done jiu-jitsu for a year and never fucking had a protein shake.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I'm not getting better, or I'm not able to go to the gym every single day because of some fucking work, like some diet regime, you know, supplement thing that I'm on that's like getting me out on the mat.
Yeah.
I'm just getting myself there, and I'm doing it, and I do it when I feel like fucking shit and when I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Like I go when I don't want to go. And
that's one of the best times you can go, obviously, and just build that resilience.
And then you just get to a point where you're just like, shut up, cunt. Keep
Just
going.
go.
You know, and even like I say to Ricky all the time, like, oh, she's like, what time's training? We're like, oh, fuck, I'm pretty sore. Don't think I'm going to go. Right? She's like, what time's training? And I'm like, oh, it's 5:30. And she's like, all right, we'll do dinner at 7.
Yeah.
So
well, the best question to ask right now is, have you ever regretted going?
Nah, never.
Never.
Like, and you
never
always
regret a
feel
workout.
better. No,
you know?
you always feel better. And I'm sort of in that. It's fucking hard though to like gather that momentum, because I'm at that point with surfing at the moment. Because so before I broke my rib, I'd get up and I'd surf at 6 every day. Every morning there was waves, and then I'd train at either the morning or the afternoon or night session.
That's something that I need to get back
Surfing?
into, surfing.
Yeah, fuck, come surfing me.
I know.
Surf whenever you want.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to do. It's just, you know, just time, man.
Dude, surfing is like...
I need to hit up your mate, actually. The surfboard.
Oh, Steel, get a board. Fuck
yeah. Because I feel like I might
one
need...
off him? Bliss from Bliss and Essa.
Yes, that's what I saw.
Yeah, and then you text me after that.
Yeah. So hook me up with that guy.
Oh, I fucking love that thing.
Yeah.
We'll get you on there.
Yeah, because I feel like I might need a custom design board.
Yeah, you need a big dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was in that groove where like it didn't matter how tired I was or how sore my shoulders were. I went, but then I broke my rib, and I've got that groove back with training just because I have to.
Yeah.
But surfing seems like a luxury, like it's not a necessity at the moment.
Yeah.
And I just haven't, like, I actually went before. That's why Texans had come earlier, because the waves were shit.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, you know what? Fuck, I'm going to go for a surf. But it's hard to, like, it's real easy for me to do the jiu-jitsu thing now, because it's literally I've just hit a year, like pretty much this week or last week or something. And it's just, that's it. When you do something every day for a year, and it's like I've obviously had days off and some injuries and stuff, but like every day I can go, I've pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And I've never done anything every day for a year in my life.
Yeah, right.
Like I've always...
How nice is that then to find that?
It's massive, bro.
Even like this stage in life, like that's the kind of stuff you think.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And dude, and it is like, it's cool to like tell people that it's not too late, it's not, you're not too old, it's not too hard, like you can do it if you start and just don't stop. And like I'm nowhere near it, bro. Like I feel like I've just started still, but it's been a year, and now like I went back to my old gym last night, and there's like a bunch of new faces, and there's like...
Yeah, but anyone that has experienced any type of like martial art, or particularly jiu-jitsu, just knows that hole is never ending. You know, it's
like
a beautiful hole
that come in.
It's a really nice hole to go down, you know, because you start going to bed at night just thinking, you know, about passing guard, or, you know, everything just becomes jiu-jitsu. So
there's...
it's a beautiful sport, man. It's probably my favorite sport that I've done ever.
Well, how long did you do it for?
Oh, years, man, but it's always been an in and out sort of thing because of situations.
Would you come train again?
Absolutely. Like I'm really hoping. I've got
VC.
VC.
Come and do some stuff.
Well, I got VC that I sort of programmed for him, Vicente Cavalcanti from Southside.
Southside, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he's just opened the gym in Narang, so I'm really hoping to get down there.
Oh, that'd be close to you. Did you do gi as well as no gi?
Yeah. I didn't. I way prefer no gi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a little bit of gi as well. Yeah. Right. But like, I mean, on and off. I mean, I first got into, because I was training like I trained
MMA,
for Jesus. It was almost like three fights.
Did you have 3 MMA fights?
No. I trained for 3 MMA fights. First 2, the guys pulled out, and then the last one, I dislocated my knee. So, and as you know, like mixed martial, so much respect for those guys, because that is a such a tough sport, man. I think it's really overlooked, like how many disciplines that those guys take seriously. They take wrestling seriously. They take jiu-jitsu seriously. Striking, boxing, kickboxing, like judo, you know, like, and they take them all very seriously. Like they're doing so many sports, and then, but you know, the uneducated person will just see them fighting in a cage and just go, oh, that's brutal. Yeah. You know, it's not. It's a science. It's a sport. It's a beautiful sort of just two men get going at it, and but intelligently defending themselves at the same time,
and not even trying to hurt each other all the time, you know.
What I don't think, I mean, I know a lot of fighters, and I've had a fair bit of experience training and sparring, and it's not usually an intention to just hurt someone. It's to beat them at the game.
Yeah, I'm just executing a technique. Yeah, I'm like, even last night, like I footlocked.
What does Rogan call it? Problem solving with dire consequences.
Dire consequences. Yeah. Well, like, that's a. Last night I got a footlock on a dude. He's a great friend. Like, he's dude I trained with. All like, he started when I did actually. Yeah. And footlocked him, and he's like, like it was just like I just did it perfectly. Yeah. And I was as soon as I heard that and he tapped, I let go, and I'm like, "Fuck you, all good." Sorry, and like I don't want to hurt people. I don't even want to choke them. But it's like this is just the end of the technique.
But that's the incredible beauty with jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You know, like you and I can go at it 100%. Yeah. Not 20%. You know, like if we were sparring boxing, you know, we'd be going like 20-30% because we don't want to hurt each other.
Yeah, you got to be.
If we, you know, turn it into rolling, we can go 100%. I could literally try and choke you unconscious or break your arm. Yeah. As soon as you tap, I'll let go. And not only did I not hurt you, we can turn around and do it immediately straight away again. Yeah. That is like that. I love that about jiu-jitsu.
There's definitely a confidence that comes with it too, in the fact that like, because like, you know, you always get the friends that will say, oh, would this work and would this work? And I'm like, dude, if you don't know it, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And it's like, if you can beat somebody that is doing the same sport and like knows what you know, and then you can outdo them when they know what to do, like what chance do you think a random dude has that has no fucking idea what an arm drag is? Yeah. And has no idea.
Zero, man. Like, you know, if you're training, or I believe, you know, and because I worked security for like 4 or 5 years, and I only started jiu-jitsu in the last sort of 2 years of that, I never felt so confident.
Really?
When I knew jiu-jitsu, because although I was handy with my hands, if you and I squared up with our hands, you still have 50% to put me down, man. If you throw a hand and clip me, I'm going down. Yeah. But turn that into jiu-jitsu or turn that into wrestling. So if I can close that distance and don't even worry about throwing these things, if I close that distance and you are not trained, you got no 0%, 0%. Like you absolutely have no chance. And again, like quoting Rogan again, but the way he describes guys that fight on the street with this ridiculous amount of confidence, it's like, dude, if you're not trained, like you are so confident to compete in something. If you want to fight someone, you know, but you're not trained, you might be fighting someone that is trained. Yeah. Then you're not gonna. Why are you so confident? Like, why are these guys so confident to fight on the street? It would be like you not knowing and challenging me to a swimming race.
Yeah, exactly.
You have 0% chance because I'm trained at that.
Swimmer,
yeah, you know, even these days, like I'm still trained at that. I'm still good at that. Same goes with fighting. Yeah. You know, and obviously I'm in the fitness industry, so there's a lot of big dudes that, you know, make these assumptions that they're also tough. Like, just because you're big, you're not tough, and it doesn't mean you can fight, man. You know, because I've had my ass handed to me by, you know, 60 kilo guys that just stitch me up on the mats.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. It's cool though, like Jack Freestone, he came on last. He is a blue belt. Yeah. Pro on the world tour, blue belt. Like, dude's a weapon.
And isn't that like don't you have to be like, if you surf, you have to do jiu-jitsu, and if you do jiu-jitsu, you have to surf now?
It does feel like it, eh? Yeah. But yeah, it was funny, like, because we were sort of talking about it, and he's like asked if I'd ever had to like do anything, and I'm like, dude, now that I feel like I could pretty much fuck up like anyone that's within 20 kilos, 30 kilos of me, like above, I just feel like I'd be stupid to even do it. Because I'd be like, oh, dude, like I would honestly feel bad if some dude come up to me and then I ended up choking him in front of everybody, unconscious, laying on the floor. I'd feel like the biggest fucking bully, like loser, because it's like he didn't even know, like.
Yeah, I have this same conversation with a lot of the parents that I train, and because I encourage them to get their kids into jiu-jitsu, and they're like, oh no, you know, like I wouldn't want him using it at school and that. And I'm like,
he won't want to.
Me. Yeah. Exactly. They don't need to, because once you have that, you don't need to prove anything. And that's like all these guys on the streets, you know, the ones that don't know how to fight, like they're getting around like they ones, because they feel like they need to prove something. When you, and by no means am I saying, you know, I'm anything special, but when you feel like you can fight or you know a martial art, you don't need to. Yeah. You know, everything. I became much more calm when I started learning jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, I would feel like a fucking dick. Yeah. I would feel like, and I've also thought about it too.
And you know that everyone would condemn it anyway. Like all the guys that you train with would be like,
they'd be like, what are you doing? Yeah. Because even, dude, I even get shit in the gym for like beating up someone that you can. It's just like, just because you can't, like even in the gym where you're like supposed to. Yeah. It's like, dude, don't beat that guy up.
Yeah, dial it back.
Yeah. Like have some fucking.
And that's where, you know,
respect.
that's where
that's
obviously
sick.
People get, or I get really frustrated when I see stuff on the news and people condemning mixed martial arts and calling it brutal and stuff like that. Yeah. You just need to spend 1 week at a martial arts gym, and you will understand that everyone there is so level-headed. No one's got egos. Everyone's gentle. Everyone's calm. You know, like it's a beautiful sport, and it's frustrating when people voice their opinion on things they don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just fucking culture at the moment, eh?
Yeah, well, social media is pretty handy with that. Oh, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I love social media, and I just did a post on that recently about how, I really enjoy social media, and I don't like when it gets condemned because people go, oh, there's so much crap on there and so much negatives. Scroll past it, dude. Yeah. Just scroll straight past it. Like social media and Instagram is so awesome to seek out and find the things that keep you positive and motivated and stuff like that. And, even me with my small following, people message me all the time and thank me just for motivating them, without even knowing it. So now I've adapted that just recently, like as somewhat of a responsibility now. Yeah. Reaching out to the people that choose to follow me and choose to message me and thank me for stuff like that. Just keep that content going and then create this, environment where everyone's supporting everyone.
I've found that to be a huge part of this experience as well, is like the messages that I get. And obviously the bigger it gets, the more messages that you get, which is cool. And it's been a real, like, I feel like at any point in the day now, like I'd have a fuckload of unread, like the requests or whatever. Yeah. And it's like I'd have a lot of them. And I could guarantee that if I went into them right now, I could fill that with positive responses to people that are either saying thanks or I love this and this is great and this helped me through this time and I love this episode with this guy, or Ryan's super inspirational, how nice is Jack? Like, it seems like there is a place that I can go and be really positive all the time. Yeah. And it is cool. And I agree with you. Like, I just try not to look at the negativity, but I do still find it weird that there is a reason to be negative. Yeah. But I think that's not the platform's fault. That's culture's fault. That's society's fault.
It's weird that people feel like they have to voice their opinion on negative sort of stuff. It's weird.
There is like, I don't think Instagram really, but then again, it's like, but see, I don't know whether that can be the fault of the platform, because it's like the more views, the more comments something gets, the more it's going to be seen, which means the more comments it's going to get. There's like a couple videos on my YouTube where I just get fucking panned. It's just like 2 videos of like unanimously, like it's just these bandwagon comments. So it's like everyone says the same thing. Oh, I'm chiming in again here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, it's like this little mob mentality. Yeah, it's like because one person says it's shit, then everybody else wants to.
It's okay now. There's a green light. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this weird thing. And then you get like, it's funny. Like, I try not to read that many comments, but these 2 videos actually just have me interested. Yeah. And it's just like, and the weird thing too, though, is like that they're videos that are just segments from the podcast. So there's a 3-hour chat and then they want to judge the whole podcast, and then it's like, and it's me and Chad Reed going back and forth.
Yeah.
And we're almost having like a bit, and not an argument, but it sort of is like it's a pretty heated conversation about James Stewart and what he did for the sport and blah blah blah. That was his biggest rival. So I'm having to be on the side of this fence, sort of playing devil's advocate. And I agree with some stuff, but then I'm like, yeah, but then think about this. And then, so I was in the position of like almost being on James's side on some stuff.
Yeah, which is okay.
Yeah, and it's like, so then all the feedback is, oh, this dude just talked the whole podcast. And I'm like, go listen, this is 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
This is 20 minutes where we're having like a fucking heated back and forth.
Yeah.
Like this, we don't do this for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But you want to criticize my entire like existence as a fucking podcast interviewer based on this 20 minutes that you've seen. And it's like, you have to keep perspective though, that's just what it is. And not take what those people are saying seriously. It's like, but then at the same time, you just can't shut it out and be like, pay no attention to any negative comment you get, because at some point someone will say something true that you should listen to.
So you should recognize.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, it just was interesting to keep that context of like, this is just a segment of this interview, and this was the part we picked. And the other part was with Ben Townley, and we're really good friends. And we just were going back and forth on him training with Alden. And that's another guy I know really well. Yeah. So it wasn't, you know, someone logs on, that's the only thing they see. And they're like, this dude just keeps interrupting and talk. I'm like, bro, we're having a full-on back and forth about like a person we know. But it's just weird, I think, that's where people it's just so easy to be negative. It's so easy that's like your first thought. Like a lot of people's first thought isn't positivity. Yeah. Which is, I just don't know where that comes from, or if like the platforms like do that just because, you know, bad news or these comments, and it's just what keeps people engaged and on the platform. They get in these comment wars with each other, and it keeps people on the platform. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, is that really what they're trying to do? Is like almost allow or create a place where this behavior manifests and kind of gets carried on. Yeah. Are they just doing that so people stay on there longer?
It's weird. I don't resonate with any of that, because I've never ever been a troll. You know, I've never ever.
No, I'm the same. I've never commented on anything.
It's weird. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Anyway, man, what about your training? Yeah. When are you going to come and lift some weights?
I want to. So this is what I want to talk to you about. Yeah. Is like, I go back and forward with the whole training thing. Yeah. Because, well, obviously I train every day, but it's sport specific. So it's like I'm struggling just to keep up with the workload that I'm putting on myself training every day. Yeah. And then it's like, so do I couldn't add weights on top of what I'm already doing. Yeah. So what I'd have to do was I'd have to take training sessions away sports specific and add in the weight training and the kind of training we would do together. Yeah. So in my head, I'm like weighing up, because I'm like, jiu-jitsu is such a knowledge-based thing. Like I can be physically not as fit, physically not as strong, but I can win. Yeah. I can beat a person that is on better based on knowledge and skill and just...
And technique.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's like, that's the balances. I'm like, what should I do? Should I try and be bigger and stronger? Because for competition, I think that'd be better. Yeah. But it's like in this stage where I think it, especially in like the lower levels of something, when you're learning so much and there's so much information coming at you, then it's like, should you spend more time sports specific or?
Well, that's going to come from your confidence in a program, you know, like, so is the program in the gym, is it going to contribute positively to your outcome that you want? Yeah. And that would just be, so yeah, you would have to take away a jiu-jitsu session or two to throw in the weights, but then, you know, that's going to have your faith in the coach, in the program, and know that it's going to sort of gear towards that goal. I mean, as you know, I work in a facility where there's a lot of golfers, and I think golf, you know, is right up there on top of the skill-based sports. Yeah, yeah. But, you know, if I can sort of so I'm not a golf coach, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, and I'm very well known for staying in my lane and treating athletes like athletes and making that athlete. My philosophy is to make an athlete sort of obviously stronger. That's what I do. But if it's a power-based sport, I make them more powerful. If it's a conditioning-based, endurance sport, I make them more conditioned for their sport.
Yeah.
I train their energy systems. But basically, I can turn somebody into a better athlete specific to that sport. That's my role.
Yeah.
Then I give it back to the golf coach or the jiu-jitsu coach, and that coach has a better athlete, a better base to work with. So now all of your sessions, so whether it's, if you're doing a golf session with your golf coach, everything becomes, again, I love that word, more efficient.
Yeah.
Because you're a more efficient athlete. So that your coach has something better to work with. And that's obviously something that I wholly and solely believe in the fact that having strength and conditioning on your side is something that's worthwhile, is something that's going to make those skill-based sessions more efficient.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm leaning more towards, because like I said, it's been a year of like fucking hard work.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm like a saw that's like just grinding, and like my body's sort of in a groove in a way. And now I'm like, I could see myself now, like, because you get injured almost every session.
Yeah.
Little, grip things, ankle things, little knee tweaks, little back tweaks, neck tweaks. And I feel like I'm constantly working around these little tweaks and stuff that I've got.
Yeah, well, you're proving my point right there.
Exactly. So
perhaps
now
if you had a solid strength and conditioning program, these things wouldn't exist. You'd be able to focus more clearly on on the job at hand.
Yeah.
You might be stronger, you might be more powerful, you'd be more resilient, and resistant to injuries. So, I totally get, because again, I work with golfers and tennis players, and it's like,
just want to be on the court.
Yeah, they just want to be out practicing their sport. But if you can kind of get the message across to them in the right way, they'll understand. And usually it's a case in the golf industry, it's a case of someone winning, a title and then crediting their strength and conditioning. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, everyone wants to be in the gym.
You can start to see dudes like, I think when Dustin Johnson came on the scene, and like Rory, like Rory was like this chubby little fucking Irish kid, and then all of a sudden is just jacked as fuck, and is like,
if Rory wins something and mentions his strength and conditioning, all of a sudden my inbox gets filled with golfers that want to train, and then
DJ's the same, like he's a fucking athlete,
like, he's a weapon too.
We're seeing athletes now on tour,
and it's nice to see those guys doing real lifts. Don't get me started on golf specific training. I won't even get started.
Well, what you said was really cool about a direct indicator of how far you can hit a golf ball is how high you can vertically jump. Yeah,
and that's a beautiful piece of information. So it's scientifically valid. It's been proven that your ability to jump, or your vertical jump, is directly related with how far you can hit a golf ball. Now, every single golfer I've ever coached, every single golfer wants to hit it further. I've never met a golfer,
and every statistic
doesn't want to hit it
golf
further.
Shows that the further you hit the ball, the lower your scores are.
The further you hit the ball, the better club selection you have coming up to the green.
Yeah.
So, therefore, you want to be able to bomb it.
Control the spin.
Yeah, you want to be able to bomb it off the tee. So, things that affect your vertical jump are, doing your box jumps, getting your heavy squats sorted,
deadlifts.
Yep. So having a solid plan. And then as soon as I can get that message across to golfers, then they become a little bit more interested in the strength and conditioning side.
Yeah.
But then, a lot of golfers just want to hang on to a cable and just do wood chops because it looks like golf.
Looks like what they're doing, yeah.
Yes. So I'm the guy that says, no, let's make your legs stronger. What's the most efficient way to make your legs stronger? Let's make your hip extension better. So how can we train your glutes to make your hips extend with more power?
Yeah.
These are things that don't look like golf, but I break down the body parts and train those body parts the most efficient way I can. So squats are an excellent way to train the legs, make the legs stronger. Kettlebell swings are a great way to make the hips more explosive.
Yeah.
None of these things look like golf, but broken up into their individual aspects and then combined. It's not my job to combine them.
Yeah.
I leave that for the golf pro. So then the golf pro can combine this athlete that now has stronger legs, a stronger base, stronger stability and support, and they can do more with that athlete.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I think too, like, even my benefit that I think that I would feel is like, I feel like, I'm just wearing a groove in my body. And I feel like even aside from like strength gains or any other gains, forcing my body to move in a way that is like symmetrical and using different
and a bit of resistance, man. Like we don't have resistance on our bodies that much this day and age. There's so many things to help us move shit, you know? It's very rare that we have to pick shit up and carry it and move it.
That's a good point.
So the gym is that place where we do. It was funny, I was having this conversation this morning with one of my clients where the gym is that place where we choose the harder option. In life, we always choose the easiest option. Do you know what I mean? So even your posture and stuff in the gym where, like, you know, I love training with dead balls. So I love picking them up, carrying them, throwing them, you know. So I had a guy with it this morning, and the natural instinct is when you hold the dead ball, so like a 40 kilo dead ball up high on your chest, you move your hips and you kind of lean back because you counterbalance that weight. And that's where I said, okay, so in the gym, this is where we're going to choose the harder option. So instead of leaning back and using your hips as basically a seesaw, I'm going to get you to remain upright and use all your postural muscles to resist that weight. And then we're going to do some squats or some cleans or, you know, and go from there. But the gym is this place that we need these days because life's too easy.
That's a really, really good point.
You know, when was the last time you were chased by a saber-toothed tiger or you had to build your home out of rocks and sticks, you know? Like, we got it pretty easy these days. So it's nice to throw yourself in that deep end. And I love the gym and using the resistance of weights.
And there is a thing too to where it's like when you get in a habit of... So like perfect example for me is like tidying the house. Like I just don't give a fuck to do it. You know, like I don't like mess. I don't like dirt, shit being dirty. But I don't mind if it's like messy. If there's like a towel out of place or some fucking clothes next to the washing machine. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't, like it doesn't stress me out. But that is choosing the easy option. And I think that when you get in a habit of like staring at something like a weight where you're like, well, I could leave it on the floor or I could move it up and down. Moving it up and down is harder, but it's probably the right thing to do. And I think that sort of carries over to other aspects of your life.
It does and it doesn't, because I'm really disappointed in myself. I'm actually really lazy outside of the gym.
But you've probably got such an extreme relationship with the gym though, to where like you've got to have some counterbalance.
You've got to have some chill like out, relaxed time and
like the casual person going into the gym is probably... has like an opposite reaction to that. But then again, like they've probably got other pressures and shit going on in their life from their work or whatever. But like I could see it being a little bit to where it's like you're so fucking tired every day. It's like, whatever. That shit barely matters.
Or maybe I got myself in this mindset where I'm like, I'll save it for the gym. You know, I'll save that energy for the gym. And just over the years, it's just kind of made me quite lazy outside of the gym.
And do you mean that with just like tidying and shit like that? Or
Yeah, guilty.
Like you cook and stuff too, right? But I guess that's for the gym, right? Yeah, like, so I don't know. I'm starting.
What are you doing nutrition wise?
Nothing at all. Like that's what I need to step up that game, but that just comes out of being fucking busy too, you know? Like really busy. But I'm lucky that I eat well. Like Ricky cooks really well. Like we'll have, like this week to run through the food, we had like chicken pasta with like prosciutto and sun-dried tomatoes and shit, and then the next night we had like lamb chops with roasted vegetables, and so it's like I'm eating good food, and every morning I pretty much do 2 poached eggs, avocado on toast. So that's like pretty much every morning, and then lunch is sort of random. We'll make like salads a lot for lunch. So I eat good, but then I'll literally eat half a big block of chocolate at night, pretty much every night.
You can, but you can fit that in.
But that's
my
your
thing.
Rule.
You know, like a lot of people that know me and follow me know that I eat a lot of pizza and you know, chocolate and paddle pops, rainbow paddle pops in my gym.
Dude, I know. Wait, did you know that rainbow paddle pops are just caramel?
Caramel?
Fucking
I
hell.
only found that out like 2 weeks ago, and now every time I eat them, I'm like,
it fucks it up a bit.
Yeah, it does. I wish I didn't know that.
Oh, that's so.
I wish I didn't know that.
I'm exactly the same. And I feel bad like saying it to people.
Yeah,
now. Like,
yeah,
did
you
know
ruin
this?
it. It's fucking rainbow.
Oh,
you know.
I feel like the secret's out on that though, because I was like, this is just a kaleidoscope of magical colors.
Yeah,
it's just fucking caramel.
Come together. It's just caramel.
That's like a bit of a head fuck on like every flavoring of everything though.
Well, I just stick to my rainbow paddle pop. If gay times are on special, then we go down the gay time path.
I got a gay time tub. Have you had that? The gay time in a tub?
No.
I got that upstairs. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
It's like a weird texture though. We were talking about it the other night.
Yeah.
That it's like
the cookie bits get a bit
soggy.
moist.
Yeah. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I'm all the way into it.
But like I was going to say, man, you can fit, like, people don't realize you can fit anything into your diet. You know, like, you don't have to avoid foods. Like, obviously if you have a reaction to that food, then avoid it. But people get too hung up on this junk food versus healthy food. You know, there's just food. There's nutrients and there's food, and certain foods have more nutritional value than other foods. But what we, as a society, what we class as a junk food is something that is not very nutritionally dense, so poor nutrition but high calories. So it costs a lot in terms of calories and doesn't give you a lot of bang for buck in terms of, you know, macronutrients or micronutrients. What we class as a healthy food in society is something that's relatively calorie low, like low sort of caloric value, but high nutritionally dense value. So, you know, your good sort of macros. So most people these days are aware of their macronutrients, being protein, carbs, and fats. And then, you know, your micronutrients coming from your sources of greens, which is, I guess, is the general public sort of take on nutrition. But you can work out your caloric value that you turn over in a day, and you just got to fit it in. You just got to fit in your nutrition, and then you can fit in your rainbow paddle pops and your pizzas. I'm a little bit lucky because
you burn so many calories.
I burn a lot of calories, and being a larger guy, like 120 kilos, my metabolism is higher than most people. So if you think in terms of money, in terms of the value or the calories that you tick over in a day, I have more value.
You've got more budget
to spend on whatever I want. So I can fit in what I prescribe, or what I subscribe to, is my own sort of nutrition plan, which is the 3 and free diet. So with 3 and free, I prescribe 3 meals, and I research the shit out of them and make sure that they're the most nutritionally dense meals that I can prescribe that is sustainable. Yeah. So again, sustainability is number one. There's, you know, if it's not sustainable, forget about it. Number 2 is your caloric intake. So the most important thing is sustainability, and then caloric intake. You got to work out how many calories you need to consume in a day. If you want to lose weight
or gain weight,
you go in a caloric deficit. If you want to gain weight, you go in a caloric surplus. The third most important thing is what you do with those calories. So do you distribute it a higher protein intake, a higher carbohydrate intake, higher fat intake? Believe it or not, you know, most people think carbs are the enemy. Calories are the enemy, right? If you want to lose weight. So, you know, people go on about the ketogenic diet, and they think it's a magic diet that burns fat. Well, yes, the whole point of the keto diet is to run on ketones, which is a derivative of fat, but you're consuming more fat. Yeah. And it's, you know, and I've got a friend that I'm thinking of right now that did lose a lot of weight on keto, and he thinks that the keto diet is just magic solution to losing weight. Well, all you did, dude, was you paid attention to what you were eating, and you stopped overeating carbs. Yeah. Because carbs are really easy to overeat. Yeah. They're probably the best tasting food, you know?
And sugars fall under the category of carbs essentially too.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of people have 2 things that they think about. They think of sugars as one thing, carbs as another. But really, you're eating the same thing.
Yes,
in a way, in terms of how.
So they both fall under the umbrella. Yeah, they both fall under the umbrella of carbohydrates.
And glucose.
But as soon as you eliminate that from your diet, or it's usually as soon as anyone pays attention to their diet. Yeah. You know, if they go vegan, you know, it's not because you've gone vegan. It's usually because you've just paid attention to what you're eating. But yeah, I'm not here to sort of argue whether, you know,
which diet,
Or what I focus on is your caloric intake. You know, I can show you science this high and validate it that caloric intake is number 1 after sustainability.
But it has to be like it's just like it's Occam's razor.
It's weird. It's weird that diet can get so complex and people can sort of confuse people so much, because basically, if you just pay attention to your calories,
a lot of nutritionists want to justify paycheck, really.
Yeah, well, there's a good guy that calls out a lot of bullshit. Lane Norton, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with him. So Lane Norton is a PhD, and he'll ram it down your throat that he's got a PhD. Like he's renowned. He's been on
Rogan, right?
Yes, yeah, he was on Rogan with
they did that keto
was it Don
debate.
Don D'Agostino. So they had a really good conversation, and I really enjoyed that conversation. But if you follow Lane online, he's a bit of a bully, and he's known, in a way it's good because he calls bullshit.
Yeah.
In a way it's bad just because the way he goes about it. It's almost like he was probably...
condescending.
Yeah, condescending and continually brings up the fact that he has a PhD, which is cool. But, the way he goes about certain things. But his message is really simple as well. Calories.
Yeah.
Calories. And then use those calories for something decent, something nutritionally dense.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with my 3 and free diet is I prescribe 3 meals that are super calorie dense, and then I give you a window at the end of the day. Or really, I like the window at the end of the day. You can have that window wherever you want. So I'll give you your remaining calories. So if my 3 nutritionally dense meals cost, let's just say 1,000 calories, and your metabolism burns 2,000 calories in a day, and you're looking for a maintenance style diet, which is obviously consuming the same amount of calories that you burn in a day. Well, if my 3 meals that I prescribe are 1,000 calories, I'm going to give you another 1,000 calories for you to go nuts, right? Because I'm satisfied that my 3 meals that I prescribed
is enough nutrients.
So enough protein, carbs, and fats and micronutrients to sort of satiate you and give your body something to do with. So if you're training in the gym, give you enough protein so you can recover. But then I give you your window of your what I call your free calories. It has been something that I've followed for easily 7 years, without even thinking about it. And then everyone that sort of trains under me, I nurture them into this 3 and free style. And everyone is amazed that they can lose weight but still eat whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
And that you can just fit it in. And it's almost like, because people talk about if it fits your macros or flexible dieting. And if you're a trainer online and you promote that diet, you tell everyone it's the easiest thing ever. It's so easy, I can eat whatever I want. And that's where this whole sort of fitness thing, where people were putting up photos of Pop-Tarts and pizza. And everyone's sort of saying, oh, look, I'm eating pizza and I'm still losing weight. Yeah, you are, because you're just in a caloric deficit.
Yeah.
But if it fits your macros, basically says you can eat, they give you your caloric value. So they might work out that your metabolism will tick over, or your total daily energy expenditure is 2,500 calories. Then what they do is they divide those 2,500 calories between protein, carbs, and fats. And they say, okay, man, I want you to eat 120 grams of protein, 160 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fat. Go nuts. And so people go, oh, I've got all this freedom because I can eat whatever I want as long as I hit those numbers. But now you're spending all day on your phone tracking those goddamn numbers and tracking everything that goes into your face, right? So you can, you can have your Pop-Tarts for breakfast and then pizza for lunch, but now you're out of carbs and fats.
Yeah.
And now you can basically only eat boiled chicken for the rest of the day because you got to fit in and make up your protein count.
Yeah.
So that, to me, that's not the most sustainable way to go about it. I really like my 3 and free plan, where I give you your 3 meals and then you don't have to worry about anything else but calories.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much easier. But it's always going to be a reflection of your motivation, because some people say that's a difficult diet, the one that I prescribe, and I go, whoa, because usually I get told it's easy, but then I sort of get a little bit deeper, and it's always just a reflection of their true motivation. If something's difficult, you're just not motivated enough.
Well, that's what I've been saying lately, is like, good things come to those who really want them. Yeah. It's like that. It's literally that easy.
Yeah, mate, motivate like this. Again, I've had a few tough years, and I know that motivation is, sort of the most important thing in my life, being motivated, but also discipline, and not confusing motivation with discipline. You
have to earn motivation, I reckon.
Well, I think it comes very closely in hand with discipline, being disciplined enough, because people will say, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, I'm not very motivated. Well, get more discipline then.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. And I think that motivation runs on momentum, which is, it's a constant maintenance phase. Like, you have to keep yourself motivated. Like, I think that Yeah, that's a real hard one, and that's what I was saying before about the surfing. Like, I'm motivated to train. I'm sort of not that motivated to surf.
Yeah.
I know I want to surf.
Yeah.
But getting out of the bed when the alarm goes off, like, you know, but when it comes to training, that's easy.
Yeah.
And again, it's like good things come to those who really want it. Do I really want to surf? Right now, not really, obviously, because if I did, I'd just do it. There's nothing stopping me. Yeah. There's time and blah, blah, blah. I could fucking make more time if I'm more disciplined. Yeah. So there's like it's like discipline and motivation, really, they do go hand in hand, and then you've got momentum. And if you can keep momentum, like keep a ball rolling, don't fall too far off the wagon, don't take too many days out of the water, don't have too many days off the program to where you can let yourself slide to the point where motivation's lost. Because I do think that there is like a relationship between that and momentum, that you really have to keep it within the same sort of window. Yeah. If they get fully torn apart, then you literally start from square one. The rock is at a standstill, and it's so much easier to push a fucking rock when it's already moving.
Yeah, right.
That's what I think about that momentum of motivation.
I think I've got a good example in regards to goal setting and motivation and momentum, because something that I've been focusing on a lot lately is with my athletes and clients, where they set their goals and what they compare themselves to. Yeah. That's really, really important, because people will set their goals sky high, which I encourage. Sure, reach for the stars, but you're not allowed to compare yourself to that goal. All right? So you need to compare yourself to where you are. So not only do you need to set a goal, you also need to recognize where you are. So obviously in my industry, it might be a strength sort of thing or a fat sort of thing, like seeing your body fat percentage. And someone might say, okay, I want to be 8% body fat, but they're currently, say, 20% body fat. If they just keep looking at that 8%, it's going to be a really shitty process. Yeah. Because you're always going to be comparing yourself to 8%, which you're not at. And you know what? You don't really have a right to compare yourself to that. So I'll put it in a different light. I have a guy that I'm thinking of right now, and he trains really well, but nothing's ever good enough for him. Yeah. So we did 100, like he did his first 100 kilo bench the other day. So I'm high-fiving him, and he's like, oh, it should be like 120, should be like, I should be heaps stronger.
Yeah, always half empty.
Why are you allowed to compare yourself to that? Because you've just done something you've never physically done in your life. The 100 kilo bench was his PB. So why are you pissed off? You should be celebrating. You literally just did something you have never physically been able to do in your life. Yeah. And you're pissed off about it? It's simply because of what he's comparing it to. He should have been comparing it to where he started, which was 40 kilos benched 3 months ago. Yeah. Right? So that's where sort of that momentum, I guess you're sort of talking about, comes into light, because if you set a goal, excellent. Recognize that goal, see where it is, but you need to also recognize where you're starting. And that's where you compare yourself to, and you just monitor yourself on that goal, but you don't compare to it.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Did you just make that up, or is that a saying?
No, it's a saying.
Okay, I was going to say, nice one, man.
That's a saying from a man much smarter than me. Yeah. I don't know who actually said that. But yeah, that is a super true statement. Like, comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, anytime you compare yourself to anything that, like, you're not going to be, or, that you're not yet, it's not going to feel good. And then if you're comparing yourself to someone that's worse than you, then that's coming from a place of ego, which is probably not a great place to live either.
Yeah, I'm actually listening to that audiobook, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, right now. Oh, yeah. And I mean, I know it's old news to a lot of people. I sort of started seeing it, I think, like easily three years ago. Yeah. Started seeing people reading it and stuff, and I was almost drawn away from it because of the title. Because it's like, I would assume that the book is all about not giving a fuck. Yeah. But it's not. If you actually read the book,
just giving a fuck about the right shit.
About the right shit. Yeah, yeah. And mindset wise, knowing that life is happening for you and you are responsible for the way that you receive, everything that's happening to you. So in a way, you're always responsible Did you ever read Extreme Ownership?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jocko Willink. Yeah, that was a really cool book
Dude,
too.
I met him. He's a fucking...
Oh, you met him?
Yeah, he's a really good dude.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He'll come on this next time he's in Australia. I met him last time he was here.
Really wow.
Nice
Tell him to
guy.
come and train with me.
Dude, I fucking will for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, he's a crazy, crazy, crazy nice dude.
Yeah,
but
I'll
yeah,
test his craziness.
Yeah, I read that Extreme Ownership. Like, I met him at a book signing. I just went there for it. Wanted to meet him.
It's a very powerful concept,
mate. It's fucking foolproof.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So basically, it means just being taking full responsibility for everything in your life. Yeah, everything's your fault.
Because I like to think like one of my main philosophies in life is I want to be a person that happens to the world. I don't want to be a person that the world happens to.
Yeah.
Because that just is my way of saying, like, I don't want to be a victim.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up in a way because, like, there is shit that is out of your control and it's your fault and they're fucked up situations to be in. But at the end of the day, somewhere along the line, you made a choice to put yourself in that place.
Yeah, somehow, some way you're responsible for it but you're always responsible. I think what the more powerful message is, you're always responsible for how you react to situations.
100%.
And a really good mate of mine, Steve, who I get to train with, a fair few times a week, he is always saying, life is happening for you and there's always a lesson to learn out of every situation. And he's right, man. He's right. And if you can let go of that ego, like, as you know, I've had some things, some good and bad things happen to me over the last few years. And if I can sort of just let go of my ego and just learn the lessons and look forward to the point in life where I'm hoping that I will be thankful for the experiences that I have.
That fucking always happens too. Like, I've got a friend that he's one of my best friends. He's going through a tough time with like a relationship and whatever. And, I'm seeing him now struggling and I'm seeing him this upset and I'm talking to him and I'm going through everything with him. And I'm like, I feel so fucking bad for him. But at the same time, like, it's so hard to tell people when they're in the moment that, like, there will be a point when this fucking shitstorm turns into a rainbow.
That's where I'm at, man.
And it's like, it's either, in the case of, like, say it's a girlfriend that breaks up with you and it's like, all right, well, here's the thing. You're either going to get back with her and it's going to be great because you've had time apart and you've figured out what you really wanted and then you come back to each other. Happy fucking story. Or it doesn't and you end up with a new person that you fucking love and you have all these experiences and then you take everything the lessons that you learned out of that and then you put it into this new thing. And
just
it's
like you said, happy story again, either way.
Yeah, but it's like, that's a way you have to look at it. And it sucks in the moment. And I think that there's a certain validity to feeling everything that you're supposed to feel in a situation. Like, you should feel angry. You should feel disrespected. You should feel heartbroken. You should feel sad. Because in life, you need those things to then create the yang to that yin, which would be happiness, love, joy, appreciation, gratitude. Yeah. So it's like you can't have all those things. You can't have dark without light. You can't have fucking wet without dry. There's a duality in life that you cannot, like, as much as you want to not feel.
There's a gift somewhere, and with my situation, I've gone through the divorce from hell that's dragging out over 2 years and it's affected my time and my relationship with my daughter that I hold, how closely I hold her to my heart. Yeah. But I guess the gift that I'm going to take out of it is when I have a good relationship, I think I'm going to be a great person in that relationship and I'm going to appreciate my daughter even more. Yeah. So, you know what I'm doing this weekend?
What's that?
I'm doing ayahuasca.
Are ya?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You got to tell me where you're doing that.
Yeah. Well,
are you doing it here?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. In Byron.
No shit.
Yeah. Proper, like, guided by a shaman and a proper ceremony. So not just, getting on ayahuasca. It's a proper guided sort of ceremony. Yeah. And it was because I put up a post not too long ago about, I was so prepared I was going to travel to Peru and do the proper ceremony over there. And
I was only just talking about that like yesterday.
The beauty of social media again. A friend that I've known, for years, a really, really good mate of mine, I used to swim with him. He reached out and he goes, "Hey dude, my family know a shaman and blah, blah, blah." And it's all come from there. And
damn.
Tomorrow, man, it's on.
Have you done much psychedelic stuff before that?
No, nothing.
Yeah, my advice would be that you...
I'm a bit scared. I'm nervous.
You will be. The thing with psychedelics is, like you've smoked weed.
Yeah,
like
heaps.
that's a psychedelic.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So
I vape most nights. That's part of my sort of nighttime routine, and that's not a decision that I took lightly. Like I've never sort of gotten into any drugs or barely even drink or anything. But yeah, it's funny when you start to do real research on certain things, and vaping at night for me has been something that I've introduced into my healthy routine.
I'm the exact same.
Yeah, it's part of my health routine, and a lot of people are resistant or sort of taken back by that, but give it, what do you reckon, 3 to 5 years, it'll be completely mainstream. I can guarantee
that's why I'm cool to talk about it on this, and I don't give a fuck, because like anyone that wants to judge me for smoking weed and whatever, I'm like, dude, in 3 years you'll look like fucking idiots, or 5 years, or because everyone's going to do it.
I believe so.
We're people that are ahead of the curve. And it's the same as when I'm fucking old, like 35, 36, 37, I'll start doing TRT and I'll do all the shit that's taboo, because like the reason all this shit's taboo is it's just old ideas that have become ingrained into culture, and I just don't
feel too comfortable talking about it because I'm not an expert. But the research that I did to make the decision that I made to vape at night, I'm satisfied that it is, and it was part of my health routine. And it's only had positive impacts.
And what health
for me.
Benefits do you think you get out of it?
Mate, I can actually switch off at night.
That's where I'm at.
So I can have tough days, and it's something that I check myself, because I'm really worried about, am I dependent on something or not? And I would never ever allow myself to be dependent on anything, but it is something that I enjoy and makes my life better, and I get to relax at night, I get to eat, and then I go to sleep.
Dude, I'm 100% the exact same way. And you know what? How long would I be smoking for now? It'd be like years now. I'm
probably on 2 years.
Yeah, I reckon I'd be longer, now. Like I've been home almost 2 years. But yeah, like I pretty much always, like once I started, I was like, this is really good. Like this helps me. My problems are I don't sleep. So if I don't smoke at night, I will be up till 2 o'clock no matter what, every single night, 2:30, 3:30, and then I'll set my alarm for 7:30 because I fucking can't wake up later than that. I'll sleep past that if I don't have an alarm because I stayed up so late, but I just can't call myself a productive human if I don't wake up on or before 7:30.
That's a good attitude,
And but the problem is, and I'll work, and like even Mick the other night, like I put the Supercross thing up, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And then he gets up in the morning, and because he just got all the access to shit, he's like, fuck, what time were you up till last night?
Are you productive when you smoke?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not.
I can.
No. So I think
I can be, and I cannot be.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the way
I make a choice.
Yeah, it's the way that I've introduced it into my life.
Yeah.
I don't do it socially. It's just part of my nightcap routine. I know guys that have a whiskey and stuff before they go to bed. Now, if you condemn weed, but you drink, you're on another planet, mate. You're fucking stupid. Like alcohol is way, way worse than a plant that grows in the ground. But I'm not productive on it at all. But I do think that's because of my
appeal.
The way that I've sort of introduced it into my life. I only do it when I'm ready to switch off for the day. And then I have only a little bit, and I make sure it's under control. Because I'm always worried, but I'm realizing there's nothing to be worried about. It's just so funny that and then people find out if they find out I do vape, and then they question it. You can tell that they're just been brainwashed by just society at the moment. But just like you said, 3 to 5 years, it's going to be completely mainstream. So, and
I look at the people around me that so even my mum would be like, oh, smoke. And we've got a problem with drugs in our family, which is that would be the real reason behind it. Is there's some problems with drugs.
And there's absolutely some people that marijuana doesn't agree with.
Oh, for sure.
You know, just like fucking everything.
It's the same as alcohol.
Yes.
But so, I mean, I think that's like more her angle. But then there's like all this stuff in her life that she struggles with menopause, and she's getting all these hot flushes and she can't sleep and like all this shit where I'm like, just if you fucking smoke one little bowl with me at night, you're going to have the best night's sleep. And like it's like changing a little bit. Like my dad, I got like a CBD pen for my dad.
Yeah.
So he's got like CBD oil because he struggles with his knees. But so what I was saying before, so I'd smoked for like fucking years, man. So, and since I started, there's been a lot of good stuff that's happened in my life, and I think it's just come from the fact that it's let me balance some shit out a bit, because I was working so fucking hard but not getting as much done because I was just tired all the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't have motivation to go to the gym. I wasn't really doing anything. I just got in this mentality. It was probably your swimming mentality, but I have that for work.
Yeah,
where
right.
it's just like the fucking more that you can do, the better it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then people would be like, oh, fucking, you know, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I'm just too busy. I'm so busy. And I'd roll myself up. And I thought like the more I thought I was busy, the more I must be busy. But I'm like, it's just not the case, dude. Like, so then it was in the States where it was just, you know, I didn't smoke weed until I was probably 24. And then once I did, it took me a while to actually enjoy it. I was like, oh, that's fucking shit. Because it was just in a social experience.
Yeah, right.
And I was just like, it slowed me down. I didn't talk as much. I wasn't being funny. Like I didn't feel like myself.
Yeah.
But then my ex-girlfriend's brother, he was just like a full stoner. Like just every night got stoned, played video games. And then I got so fucking tired of not sleeping and then just working all the time. Yeah. And then I was living with this dude because I've never lived. That was the other thing. Like I never lived with a normal person. So like he had a job.
Yeah. And
then he finished at 5 and then he come home.
Yeah.
And then he fucking smoked weed and played video games. Then he went to bed and then he did it all over again.
Yeah.
I've lived with like Jay Reinenberg, who is my old business partner. And we were just fucking hustlers, bro. Like just 24/7, like working on video projects. Wow. I'd be editing, he's pitching stuff. Like we're just on all the time, traveling all over the world, going to all these races. And then when we stopped working together and then I started working with Wes, Wes is on another fucking level. So Wes and me are just like, we're doing the opposite. We're taking fucking Adderall to stay awake and work.
That's an epidemic in itself. Yeah.
That in America that's like the craziest shit. But you know what? Fucking, if you want to get some shit done, take Adderall. No. And I'm not even joking.
No.
I had a video series that I had to do for Transmoto, and it was like 12 videos. And then I had to get on a plane to go to New York. And I just poor time management, left it late. So anyway, I get up at like 5 in the morning, take this Adderall. My flight to New York left San Diego at like 9. So I had to leave my house at 6:15 or something. So anyway, take this Adderall at like 5:30 in the morning. I fucking worked non-stop, dude. I don't even remember getting up to take a piss. Fuck. I edited all 12 videos, which would have been like a week project for me, dude. That's like just a normal. I'm not even like.
You're gonna get people hooked on this shit now. I won't even take Panadol, man. I don't like any prescription meds. I don't like meds. You know, I barely even take that. But yeah, like that's why for me, vaping at night was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Do you do CBD as well?
Yeah, honestly. So I've got a CBD pen that I've got, and I don't know that it does as much.
What do you mean by a CBD pen?
Oh, like a vape pen. So
I
I just have
no.
It
Well,
I
take the actual CBD oil.
And what do you do with that?
I just oral.
Oh, so yeah.
It's the combination of the THC that I get from the vape.
Yeah.
So I just put the weed in and vape the weed, and then I'll have I'll just put a little bit of just a rice grain.
Yeah.
Spit out of CBD oil. And so the THC puts me to sleep. The CBD keeps me asleep. And And I have felt healthier and better ever since, including those into my health routine.
Yeah.
I've got a mate that he he has sleeping tablets every single night.
Yeah, no,
and I
fucking
hate that. I hate that.
I had that, dude. When I was a kid, man, I fucking had insomnia, like bad.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sleep, and I was on.
It's hard for me to comment because
I
I've never had real issues with sleeping, but sometimes with the situation I'm in, my mind will tick over. And but yeah, the vaping, and then I've only recently started the CBD oil as well.
Yeah.
And that puts
I'd be
me
interested.
down deep.
I should back to back mine versus yours, because I just don't. I haven't had any other than the stuff that I've got.
Yeah.
But like, so I guess I've fucking keep getting distracted in these stories. But
Yeah.
since I started, I hadn't really had any like extended period of time off.
Yeah.
And then I was like, is it too much? Because I'm fucking brutally honest. Like, I don't want to. I'm the same as you. I don't want to be a person that's dependent on something just because it feels good. Doesn't mean it is good. And you can alcohol, cocaine, all that shit. Like, that's what you apply it to. So I'm like, I really need to be strict on myself, because, and especially with the family drug stuff of like, am I doing this too much? Is it actually benefiting my life? And like, so I almost was
that's good to to keep it in check and check.
So I just said, look, I'll go to Vietnam, and I didn't have any in the house at all. So like, I'd finished everything by the time I went to Vietnam, flew to Vietnam, did that trip, and then I come back, and it was like 2 months where I had no weed at all. Yeah. And I know that I back-to-backed it.
Yeah.
I went back to working till 3, and I went back to some of these old habits that I now think are super counterproductive. Like, I need to be able to relax. I need to turn, and like what we were saying before, like, my mind's going all the time. Like, I don't feel present, but I feel like I can be more present and more into the moment. Like the other night, so I've just started, like, pretty much this week is the first week I've started back smoking again. Yeah. And so we were watching, instead of, like, I actually had my laptop on my lap, and then I was like, oh fuck, all right, I'm closing my laptop, smoked, and then I just put on a Netflix show. Yeah. And it's like, I was just into it. I was really into the show, and I was like amazed by it. And I know. It was cool.
Life like, really is that little bit better. Only,
it can't be all the time.
The time's right. Yeah. So for me, it's at night, and I enjoy food way more, obviously. And I enjoy, just watching TV, and I feel like I appreciate everything way more.
Yeah. And it's good to be, what is funny though about the CBD? So like, because you don't get like super, super high, do you, when you smoke?
There's when you
smoke weed.
Yeah, when I smoke, but the CBD doesn't have any THC.
But when you do you ever just get like fucking properly cooked like with weed?
No.
Yeah, no. So like, I like that shit every now and again.
Yeah.
Like, and so sometimes I'll have like, I'll smoke a little bit to do like the wind down thing, but I'm not just fucking Gornskis. And then like right before bed, I'll just fucking go.
See how far I can push this.
Yeah, big time. And then just get into like the full fucking
space.
The crazy zone. Yeah. Because I like being there, and psychedelics, that's where you go.
Well,
so that's where weed is. So I mean, I don't know whether you want to try.
We'll see how I go on tomorrow night.
Oh, you're doing it tomorrow?
I'm doing it tomorrow night. Yeah, I'm doing this ayahuasca ceremony.
I can't be fucking calling you.
Well, you better call me on Sunday just to make sure I'm still alive. Yeah, but I'm sure I'm going to be fine.
Well, I think like my advice for it, and that's where like when people say weed's not a psychedelic, like if you get crazy fucking stoned, and like, have you ever had much edibles?
No, once or twice maybe, but yeah, that's actually something that I actually, you caught me because I want to try and make some butter.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's a totally different thing, and it's a bit more psychedelic, I reckon. Yeah. But like, I don't know, if you just smoke enough, like if you smoke a whole fucking joint to yourself, like you are going to be pretty whacked. Yeah. And you go into like that place, because so the thing with psychedelics and like what you'll feel with the ayahuasca thing is Have you done ayahuasca? No, but I've done other psychedelics.
DMT?
No, I'm going to do mushrooms this weekend though.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we're all going to do some mushrooms, which is pretty fucking cool. But I want to, I just haven't been around DMT like I have. I would like to do it. Yeah. I wonder if, I feel like I need to have like another, maybe this mushrooms thing will be good for that, just because I feel like I want to just know that I could be in check, because you've got to let go. So like when you do your ayahuasca, obviously just speaking to someone that hasn't done it, but with my experience that I have had with that stuff, you can't fight the feeling. Like when when people say like, oh, I smoked too much weed once, I had a panic attack or whatever. I think that comes from like you're not letting go.
Yeah.
Of like it's like reality. That reality slips away.
Yeah.
And I've had that. Like I got like when I first started smoking, one of my mates is one of the best action sports photographer in the world for mine, and he's one of those dudes that's like a functional stoner. He's stoned all day, every day.
Not me.
No, I'm not that guy either. But so anyway, our van broke down in Vegas, and he had like a green, like a weed card from California.
Oh no!
He's like,
yeah.
I'll go try buy some shit. So anyway, we waited for like fucking ages. So he bought all this shit, and then we finally got going. By the time we got back, we were just like, fuck, we're gonna get on it. So anyway, I just stood out there, smoked a joint with him, and I didn't think a lot of it. But like this stuff was so fucking strong, bro.
Is that true?
Oh,
from
bro.
a dispensary? Yeah, so it is. It's crazy strong.
Oh, it's way stronger over there.
Wow.
Way stronger. But yeah, so I'd smoked this joint, and I was like,
and all legal.
Yeah, it's all legal. Yeah. So well, I mean, I don't know. Technically,
well,
it's
what
not
about
federal.
that? Yeah,
it's
that's fucking
weird.
that blew my mind. I saw something about it, and like Colorado, it was legalized, so people.
So the thing is it's state legal.
State legal.
But it's not federally
That's
legal.
just. I want to know who that motherfucker was that pulled the trigger on those raids in Colorado. Who was that? Who was that asshole?
It was probably like Jeff Sessions or something.
Who was that asshole that they knew that Colorado, the state, had made it legal?
Yeah.
So people opened dispensaries completely legal, doing the right thing, and then the fucking feds came in and raided their shops and stuff because it's federally illegal.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that pulled that trigger?
And
What
like,
a dick.
Have you ever met a dude that grows weed that's like an aggressive asshole?
No.
That grows like really good
Yeah.
weed. Not, you know what I mean?
But,
like really
yeah,
cares. It's just like, it's
that
such a nice
pisses me
community
off.
of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had this that one time, and I ended up, I was trying to just be cool, like, they're all just my friends, so I wasn't weird about them seeing me fucked up or anything like that. I just legit was like, I can't swallow, and I'm like trying to like and I'm like fucking close. I'm like, oh no. And then I was like, I can't fucking breathe. I can't swallow. Felt like my throat was closing in. And then like full fucking paranoid stoner, like Googling like, does your throat get closed from smoke? I was like, I've had some kind of, but what all it is I was just like I was fucking high, and I was struggling to accept, and then everything tightens up. You get tense, and you're like, ugh, and you start to freak out. That instead of just like letting go and being like, oh, this is a different feeling. And so that's why sometimes I'll just get that baked, because it's like I want to get that feeling of like, it's almost like a mental gym in a way, if that makes sense, to where it's like, because that's not the easy option.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So it's like you're like forced to move an uncomfortable weight that you don't want to move.
Well, I got the funniest story. When I first ever did it, it took me a long time to make the decision to try it. I bought a vape because I've never smoked it, because the only downside that I read my research sort of told me was smoking it, the heat hurts your lungs.
Yeah.
So vape, there's the answer. So I bought a vape, got my little bit of weed and that. And I remember sitting down.
Do you vape the herb?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got like a PAX or something?
Yes. Yeah, I actually have one, but I got the Mighty as well.
I want to try that.
The Stores and Bickle Mighty. Yeah.
I want to try it because my friend, I have tried it with Anthony, but I haven't consistently done it.
Well, I've got the PAX as well. But the first one I had was a haze. It was called a haze. And I remember I put it in, and then I had about 6 draws, and I swear to God, man, because I wasn't doing it just to get high.
Yeah.
I was looking for all the health benefits that I wanted from it. And I had about 6 draws. And then I remember I was just sitting there, and I was like, move.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Trinity,
I don't want
get
to.
up.
And I'm like, yeah, move. And I'm like, I don't want to. And I hadn't realized, I forgot you get high.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't doing it for that reason.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that you get high. And I remember sitting there going, holy shit. And I didn't know how much I had. So I'm like, the first time I've ever been high, I'm like trying to Google, like type into the phone, how much, like how much should you have and what's a lot or what? I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
But I survived. You always survive. No one dies.
That's the thing you got to remember. So like going into this weekend, like that's the thing is like you've got to remember that like as uncomfortable or as weird as it starts like hitting you or coming on, or you've just got to be like, all right, cool, this is what it's supposed to be, this is what it's supposed to do.
Well, I want that benefit of, so many people say they have the experience, they do ayahuasca, they go through the ceremony, they have that experience, and then they come out of it with a whole new lease on life. Like I want to be able to appreciate the shit things that have been happening to me.
I would say, as a piece of advice, don't go into there wanting a certain thing. Want whatever it gives you.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like I really think like all my experience of doing psychedelics and anything like that is just don't go in with a preconceived want or an expectation, because then you can be let down. And then you can let it change your experience. So like,
I'm sure having the benefit of having the shaman, like proper shaman, like I'm sure he's gonna, like that's going to help, and I'm glad I'm doing it properly.
Yeah. Well, perfect example was I got super cooked, went into a float tank.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet. I've floated, but I haven't done it baked.
Yeah. So it's like it's fucking cool, but I was like stressed about all this work shit, and I was stressed about this and that, and then I went in there with like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to focus on these things, and then all I thought about was jiu-jitsu for an hour. I literally watched myself in third person do jiu-jitsu, and it was the sickest experience, but it wasn't the one that I was like hoping to get. And at the start I was like, oh, I'm wasting my time, fucking hell, like I should be thinking about this, but I couldn't get
that's
away.
A good point. That's dangerous to go and want something out of it.
Exactly. So like,
I get what you're saying,
and especially, with the heavy stuff that you're dealing with, and it might be, it's like when you say, I had deja vu the other night. Have you ever get deja vu?
Yeah.
So I had deja vu, and then I said to Ricky, I was like, oh, I'm having deja vu. And then I was like, fuck. I knew that whatever was I stopped it. I stopped the thing that actually happened next.
By recognizing
exactly.
it. Yeah.
So like by saying, because in my deja vu, I was in bed, and because I just got Hurley back, my dog from America. So then I just got him back, and before he got to Australia, I had this deja vu dreams type thing where he was laying in the exact same. So everything was the same. There's a candle in the room. Everything was the same. And then he got up, and then he moved. And then I was to the point where he was just about to move, and then I said, oh, I've got deja vu. And then nothing else happened. It was just like everything got sucked away. So I think the same thing can happen with like any kind of psychedelic experience or any kind of like intense like drug experience. Is if you start trying to change the road that you're going down, it can kind of fuck with you, but it can also just stop what was supposed to happening. So it's like, I think anytime you do those kind of things, it's like that they have that it has its own plan, and you shouldn't fuck with it. And it might start going down a road that you're like, well, this doesn't relate to the problems I come here to fix.
Right, but
it could be. And by changing it,
that's a really good advice.
So I think that anytime I've done anything like that where I'm going in and I'm like, this is going to be pretty intense, I just go in with that thinking of like, don't change anything, don't think about anything else, just just exist in that moment. So, and that's where edibles are really cool, because they're pretty intense when you do like a lot of them. And you've really got to like ride out the storm, and it always ends up being like a whew.
Well, I've never got to that point where I want to get off the ride, you know, like I've never got to that point where I'm like, I don't want this anymore, you know.
I think people should get to that point, I reckon. Like, but really, like, I've got to that point of fucking time. I want to go home, I want to go home,
Yeah.
want to go home, want to go. Pineapples.
Pineapples. What's that?
That's like Kevin Hart's thing.
Yeah, Kevin Hart plays his safe word.
His safe word. Pineapples.
Yeah.
But no, it's sick that you're doing it.
Yeah. I think it's appropriate.
And Byron too would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Just thank God to my mate. He's such a legend. He's just reached out over the last few weeks, and we've been chatting heaps. And really good guy. So
you've obviously, like, I guess, talked about some of the stuff that obviously you don't have to go into like detail, but you've been struggling with like some mental sort of side of everything. Like, I don't know, like how.
What are you digging at, man?
Well, like, I don't know. You said before that it's been good to give people advice and stuff. Like, what are you learning about at the moment?
Well, I'm going. Yeah, I haven't spoken about it much, and I don't know whether it's appropriate to talk about it or not. But people seem to respect when I sort of talk about it. I'm going through a really tough sort of divorce, and this, you know, we separated 2 years ago. But it's the financial side of things that's dragging out, but also, you know, in terms of my daughter, and that's, I've never experienced. You know, I used to roll my eyes at things like depression and anxiety, and you know, as soon as I started having frustrations in regards to my daughter, and when I can see my daughter, and you know, certain things like that. It's been super tough, man, and I'm that statistic now. You know, I'm like father's rights, and you know that sort of stuff. And there really is, man. Like, I've been disgusted. I've been absolutely appalled at the system. You know, the system's broken, and you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like men we struggle as men and fathers just for equal rights. Like, I just want to be an equal, and my ex-partner just can't seem to get that across, that thought that I am equal. Yeah, I'm a dad. I'm not a caretaker. Like, you can't just dictate everything in regards to the care of my daughter. Yeah. And you know, being in
especially when you're like a highly functioning adult.
I'm a good dad. You know, I might half understand it if I was some shitbag. Yeah. I'm a good dad. I'm a good person. Yeah. And it's the most frustrating thing I've ever been through in my life. And I have gone in the depths of depression and anxiety, and been up at night just crying. And I don't really think I've ever really spoken about this sort of stuff, but I'm certainly not an expert on it, but I've been through hell, man. But yeah, I guess exercise is sort of the thing that keeps me in check, and certainly helps with everything. But my part of my health routine at night is when I actually had a friend when I was in the depths of it, like really struggling, and a friend came up and she was hanging out, and she said, "I'm not going to leave you." You know, I was just crying. She was helping me move out of my house and all this sort of stuff, and I was just there on the couch, just in absolute mess. And then I vaped, and she was like, "Oh my God, I can see now." Yeah. She's like, "You're okay now." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so," you know. And it wasn't just because I was just stoned or anything, but it just sort of mellowed me out. And I guess you kind of just accept things as they are, or see them in a different light. But as soon as I started opening up about this sort of stuff, man, like my social media and that was just going crazy, because I think this is a crazy time that we live in. Yeah, a lot of people are struggling, man. Yeah, the messages I get on here are so hard for me to even like respond to, and it's not like, I've definitely been depressed as fuck before. Like, I've been in super bad situations mentally. Yeah, but at the same time, I still don't feel like qualified to speak on everyone's situation. I try and always stay in my lane, and but I guess my vehicle of dealing with it is fitness, and if I can offer help to people that are struggling in that regard through the vehicle of fitness or nutrition, then that makes me really happy, and that's a new part of me. I was always just this swimmer guy, this athlete guy that just wanted to train hard in the gym. But now I've got this whole new side of me where I'm also using the vehicle of fitness to help people that are struggling with mental issues as well. You know what we were saying before about
like, you'll know it's worth it or whatever. Like at the end of the road, like once it's all sort of done and you're back to feeling 100% and then like the situation's resolved. But like imagine if someone come up to you now and said like, oh, because of what you say about depression, anxiety and fitness, you actually stopped me from killing myself. I would have killed myself.
How powerful is that? But
then like, would you then accept this burden a bit easier? Would it make you feel a bit better about everything that you're going through if you knew, and I think that
if it helps someone else down the track. Yeah.
And I think that might be a thing to sort of help you now.
Yeah, right.
Take some solace in that.
Yeah. Because
it probably is true, dude. Like you probably are helping people that are like way on the brink.
Yeah.
And I think that's, that through some of the messages that I've got, I'm like, fuck, man, like maybe there's one dude out there that like, because he heard something that Robbie Madison said or that you said, that he didn't fucking kill himself.
Yeah.
Then it's like, that's a huge win for like,
or it made him smile or made him have a realization of, yeah, that's really cool.
And then it's like, so I mean, as much as these burdens that you carry now, they just fucking suck. Like, and they just feel like they suck the life out of you. But it's like, if you could take a bullet for your fucking someone, like that's really what you're doing, man. You're taking a bullet for these people that don't have a platform and don't, they don't have the, your success in an industry. They don't have your career. They don't have, the physical ability, whatever it is. Like, you can kind of, if you frame it to where it's like you're taking a bullet for these people and you're actually, by going through what you're doing, you're saving them that same struggle. And it's like, because what it's given you is the ability to understand, like you said, you thought it was all fucking weirdness, the depression, anxiety thing. And it's like, now that you've gone through this, you're able to be a person that can, institute change. And it's like, fuck it. And if someone told, like right now it's like wishy-washy, like, oh, maybe someone has, maybe someone hasn't. But just think, like, if someone did come up to you and definitively said, like, if you didn't go through this shit with your ex, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Then you'd probably go.
That would be, like, incredible and awesome. But I guess, as we've been chatting. It'd make you feel
worth it,
Yeah,
be like, well, fuck,
it's going to anyway,
bad,
mate, because it's all about mindset. I'm going to feel like that anyway. I know I am.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to that. I'm lying right now, as in saying that I know that it's... I'm not lying, but
you believe it,
I'm not
you
there.
Don't know it.
I know that sooner or later I'm going to be thankful for everything that's happened. I'm going to be a stronger, more resilient person. I'm going to have a better lease and outlook on life. I'm not there yet. I can't wait till I get there. I know I'm going to get there.
Yeah. Oh, and it's just the fucking nature of it. And it's like, you almost can't lose a race you don't quit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Because that's what this life is.
Or that principle, like just 1% better every week.
Yeah.
1% better every day. Just, just consistency, man.
And then comparing it to like how you were, not to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Is key as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's sort of one thing that I always try and think of is like, that's where I get like, with different policies and different, like, like the gun thing or whatever. It's like, fuck, if it saves one life, isn't it worth it? Like if you could fully know that by making a certain kind of gun illegal, it might not stop everyone fucking dying. It might not stop every mass shooting that it happens. It might not, but fuck, if it means one kid, little Sally, doesn't fucking die.
Oh shit.
Then it's like,
this is a scary rabbit hole.
But isn't it what, but
absolutely,
I try and apply that thinking to everything.
Yeah.
And it just to like justify shit that seems, because that's what it is. Like when you get depressed, it's a big problem. It's not like there's not this one thing. So it's like I try and apply like these extreme ways of thinking.
Yeah, right.
That it's like, well, if this was the case,
put it on a huge scale.
Put it on like this insane scale.
Yeah.
That then you can reduce down to like some really small, insignificant thing that would actually really matter.
Yeah.
That like doesn't seem that big of a deal to, like, if someone said, because you went through this and you talked about it, I didn't kill myself.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And then you'd be like, so would you go through it all again if you knew that I'd die as a result of it? Then you'd go, fuck no, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So, and it sounds silly and it doesn't help the feelings at the time, but it's like I feel like it can give a bit of perspective to like big
and escape
problems.
the victim mentality. And
and it's like, because I think that's maybe some of the problem is like these things that you deal with seem so big. You're like, this will not, and it won't get better today. It won't get better tomorrow. It won't get better the next day. It won't get better the day after that.
Yeah.
And you know that, and that's a fucking sucky way to live.
This shit has dragged on just stupid amount.
Yeah.
But again,
it's been the whole time I've known you.
Yeah. You don't know me.
Yeah, I was going to say,
You've
I
never
don't
met
know
me, man.
Yeah.
You've only met the Ryan that's dealing with a whole heap of shit.
Well, you're still a good cunt.
I like
so,
to think so.
So that's something. Are you still doing the houseboat thing?
Yeah.
When's that all going?
Well, that's all part of my process, man. So that's so exciting. I'm moving on to a houseboat.
I'm on a boat.
It's more of a house than it is a boat. It's
Yeah.
definitely like an apartment on water. It's fucking awesome.
It's so
And
gangster. I'm like actually jealous of it.
It's basically making the best of a bad situation because of everything that's going on. You know, I'm selling the house, I'm getting out, and I need a fucking change, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I told you, like, just today, that experience living in Malta and doing what I did and being solo for so long. I've always wanted a different lifestyle. I've always wanted a different kind of house and, different, and this is the answer. And I'm so excited about that, man. I hope it all works out. I'm pretty sure it's going to work out. I know better than to count my chickens before they hatch,
that's
but
true.
yeah, it's a pretty solid deal, and I'm looking forward to that different kind of lifestyle, man. So don't be surprised if you see me hanging out on the Broadwater or in the Tweed or something, just cruising on this boat. I'm getting into fishing heaps. I'm going to be spending a lot of time. Now? Yeah, and I bought all the spearfishing gear. I can't wait to get into spearfishing. So I've got the whole kit. I just I haven't gone yet. I've gone swimming a few times, and obviously I think I've got a bit of a leg up.
You can swim
because
all right?
I can swim. Yeah, I can swim all right. And the breath hold sort of stuff with free diving, so I do that okay.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward. I think that's going to be my new thing, actually.
Yeah. There's some sick spots to do it out here.
Yeah. Well, I've sort of identified a few places where I can go, and but yeah, this whole I'm moving on a houseboat. I'm going full Aquaman.
That's fucking sick, dude.
Yeah.
One of the things too that, like, obviously to fucking keep talking about jiu-jitsu, but like the whole like white belt thing. I think it's something so important about being a white belt at something.
Yes, mate.
All the time.
Yes, you should be a beginner at something and not be fucking scared of being a beginner.
I know.
That's something that I've said for years, and I love being shit at stuff and trying new stuff and not having any barriers to entry just because I haven't done it before. I might not be good at it. The best thing is being a beginner.
Oh, dude, and man, the fucking like. I think a lot of the negativity and a lot of that shit, like, people just don't have a lot of purpose.
Yeah, and so many people. So many people don't commit to doing anything because they don't want to be a beginner, or might be later in life when they're in their mid-30s, late 40s, whatever. Fuck that, man. I'm always going to try new shit.
Because, dude, the gratification that comes from, like, I'm technically still a white belt, but it's like from the day I fucking walked in the gym, I am a different human being. Fucking different. Like that, if the me from a year ago walked into the gym right now, that dude would go, what the fuck? How am I I can't do that.
Yeah. I think it's so healthy to be a beginner at stuff.
And that's the same as like, so when you said the spearfishing thing, like, I'm excited for you because that's going back to a white belt.
Yeah.
And it's like you've achieved so much as a swimmer, and then you've achieved a lot as a personal trainer, and you're a fit dude, and it's like you at a maintenance phase of like keeping smashing these goals, but you're not a white belt at that anymore. But it's like to go back to be at a stage of like getting humbled.
Yeah,
is so fucking important.
I think it's so important too.
There's like this double-edged sort of, you get humbled, but then you also start to achieve, because at the start of that curve, anytime you start something new, that's the most accelerated rate of learning that you're going to experience in that.
Yeah, in the leaps and bounds.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's so much satisfaction in those big moments. Yeah, because they start happening way more frequently than anything else in your life that you're already good at. Yeah. So it's like that mentality, and that's when you said, I'm getting into the spearfishing and but it's like look how excited you
Straight
are.
away, yeah, I felt it too. I felt myself smiling as soon as I started talking about that. I need a big change, and that's what this year's about for me.
Yeah.
And all my athletes and clients know it, and we are having an awesome time with the program and everything I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah. So how can people get involved in that program? What would they do?
Is this a shout out to myself?
Just a shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug. No, well, Instagram is my go-to these days. That's just Ryan.Gambin on Instagram, right? At Ryan.Gambin. And then my website is rgstrength.com. And everything's up on there, and I can't wait, man.
Before you go, I need to ask you. So what we were talking about before about me training, right?
Yeah.
So what would be the recommended dose of strength and conditioning to see some results? So if I'm looking at a thing where it's I'm training 6 days a week, and now I need X amount of strength sessions, which is your recommendation, and then I've then got to look at my week and figure out what I drop off and what I to fit in my macros of training with you,
training-wise, yeah.
So, what would you think?
Well, strength training, my foundation are always the big four. So, you got a squat, you got a deadlift, you got a bench, you got an overhead press. And then there's a couple of supplementary exercises that go around them. So, however you could fit them into a program. So, usually I would need a minimum of 2 days, preferably 3 days, So, I think that's plenty for an athlete that's competing at a sport to spend in the gym. 2 to 3 days. When you're looking at your 4 and 5 days, that's getting really quite advanced, but you can make some serious strength gains in just because I'm a minimum effective dose guy, and that's, the Pareto's law, the 20% sort of thing. So I really just focus on the bang for buck stuff. So that's why you got to squat, you got to deadlift, you got to press, and I can fit that in easily into a 2 or a 3 day program. And
then how tired do you think you'll be after that?
So my athletes don't walk out of the gym tired. They walk out of the gym feeling better. Better because most of my athletes, people that are attracted to me, are usually in power-based sports. Yeah. And that's where that's my jam. I like power. I like vertical jump. I like increasing people's ground reaction force. Yeah. So the ability to create energy into the ground and explode off the ground. So through their structures and frames and the energy that they can create and also receive. I can easily do that in 2 to 3 sessions a week.
Yeah. The other thing that I find, so I do outside of the gym what I say I would put the most effort into, which I could do more, but is mobility. Yeah. So I'm really fucking big into the lacrosse ball. I've got the So Right. Have you seen that?
Yeah, you've got one, have you? Yeah.
Have you ever tried it?
No, but I kind of do a similar thing with a kettlebell. So I lay on a kettlebell.
Okay.
Yeah.
You come try it after.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do that, and then I obviously foam roll, but I don't foam roll that much. I find the lacrosse ball is my biggest thing. Yeah. And that is actually the best thing. That's what I'll do when I get stoned. Fuck, dude. That is.
I always have good intentions. I'll be like, okay, I might have a vape and then I'll have a stretch. Yeah. But then I get stuck on the couch. I get couch lock.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you to do that stoned. It makes the pain different.
Yeah.
It makes.
I would believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing to do, basically. But so that would be what I'd be really interested in as well, because especially retaining guard, if you can bring your legs, or if I can get my knee to my collarbone with very little resistance, and then that internal rotation with my hips, and you know what I mean. So it's that to me I would see as a massive benefit as well. And it's I don't know that I'm training my mobility or if I'm doing things that would enhance that. I think that a big one has been there at the back of my shoulder with the lacrosse ball. Yeah. I've fixed all of the impingements in my shoulders just by the lacrosse ball being in the back of my...
just trigger pointing.
Yeah, pointing that. Yeah. And then dude, the fucking range... I thought I was going to have a shoulder surgery. Yeah, right. This shoulder, I couldn't straighten it, but it felt like there was a bone chip in the front of my joint. And it was from this muscle behind it being tight. And that's from just self-exploration with this massage ball. Yeah. And putting in a lot of hours on the ground. Yeah. Well, one of my big things is mobility, and I'm always complimented for my mobility at my size. And a huge misconception is strength training will make you less mobile. Not moving
will make you less mobile. And strength training, when you train a full range of motion, makes you more mobile because you are moving. There is something to be said about flexibility being a...
well, I don't think I'm that flexible, dude.
Well, I don't want to come across in the wrong way, but athletes need to be flexible enough to perform the tasks that they have to perform. Yeah. When you're more flexible than that, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not something that you have to... Mobility comes quite easily to me because before I train, I force myself to do mobility exercises. So I spend time in a deep squat. I do down dog. I do mobility flows.
Yeah.
So part of my I love my training routine. I do a little bit of light cardio. I do mobility work, and it'll be like a flow. So it'll be a 3 to 5 minute flow of down dog to seated to stretching, you know, to movement. And it's just movement based stuff. And that's why I can move, because I keep moving.
Yeah.
So many people can't sit in a deep squat comfortably.
Yeah.
With posture and sit down in a full squat. So many people can't do it because we don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? So you won't find an Asian that has to, when they go to the toilet, they do a deep squat.
Yeah.
You won't find an Asian with tight hips.
No.
Because they regularly are in a deep squat.
Yeah. But they're not doing mobility training.
Yeah. And Blossom is a beautiful example. My daughter Blossom, who's only 5, she can sit in a deep squat with posture and play, you know, all day. And then I say, when will she not be able to do that?
When she stops doing it.
When she stops doing it. But if she keeps doing it, she'll be able to do it forever, you know? And just like me, people are surprised that I can sit in a deep squat and maintain it, and I could literally sit there all day comfortably.
Yeah.
And then I'll have people that you would assume, like yourself maybe, you know, you would sit next to me, you would assume that you're more flexible than me.
Yeah.
But you're probably not, because I'm regularly experiencing all those different ranges of motion. Movement really is medicine.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I didn't want to come across wrong and say, because you can...
Well, I think that flexibility and mobility are pretty independent of each other.
Yeah.
Because I get told all the time when people are like, even last night, like, guys like, oh, he's so flexible. And it's like a backhanded compliment in a way.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm not that flexible, but I feel like I have dexterity and certain range of motion in joints and stuff.
Yeah, so you obviously know the difference between mobility and flexibility.
Yeah,
so,
I think that people get it confused because I need to work.
Well, they think it's the same thing.
Yeah, you know? And I'm not flexible. Like I can on my left hamstring, I can barely touch my toes.
Yeah, if we were to do, say, range of motion test where, you know, I get you to touch your toes, you know, or you do it dynamically with movement and you'd probably be sweet.
But when someone's pushing down and like they're forcing my hip to go a certain way, like there is a weird mobility and dexterity that I got.
Yeah.
But I would think that, you know, I would benefit even more and more and more from more mobility and just being able to...
Doesn't take a lot, man. If you have, again, bang for buck, like again, minimum effective dose, like what are the key things that you could do that will address that? You can sort your mobility out in 2 to 3 minutes, you know, just before you train.
Well, you know what I did, dude? So when I was up in Cairns, there's a sick gym and they're called Fusion Fight and Sport for anyone that's up there. And at the start of all of their jiu-jitsu classes, the coach Garrett's fucking super nice dude. He does a 5-minute yoga for BJJ thing. Yeah. And like, dude,
and he just flows through.
Oh yeah. And I felt like a bag of dicks when I walked in the gym. Like I was like, it was early. I had to get up at 5 to get there for the 6 o'clock class. Yeah. And I was just like, hadn't eaten, hadn't had a coffee. I felt like a fucking bag of dicks.
You're talking to a guy who gets up at 4 every morning.
Yeah, savage.
So you got to sleep in.
But so we did this 5-minute yoga deal, and I felt ready to fucking rip. Yeah. And then I can't remember all of it, but I can remember like quite a bit of it. And now before class, I'm doing my weird fucking yoga shit. Yeah. And like, it's just, I felt so much more mobile. I felt like it's like if your hips need to breathe, or if you need to like pull shit out so that new blood or whatever gets in there and lubes it all up. Yeah. I felt lubricated.
A lot of my mobility routines, I've got 5 strict mobility routines that I do, all 2 to 3 minutes long. A lot of it has been influenced from the stuff that I've done at jiu-jitsu and yoga, and then my own little spin on things as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be something that would benefit. But yeah, I think that they're the questions I've had in terms of like, how many sessions would I need to do? How much would that take away from my skill-based training? Yeah. And then...
You got to suck it up and just come.
Yeah. No, I will. Next week I'll come then. Let's do a 3-day thing next week. Yeah. And then I'll just fucking see how I feel. But yeah, that's almost 3 hours, bro.
Holy.
Was there anything else I think we've covered everything that we. I think this was a better chat than the last one too.
Yeah.
I was in a weird mood that I don't know why. Like it was the first podcast I've ever done where me and Mick went to dinner straight after it, and Mick was just like, "Fuck, he's such a nice dude," and man, should I ask this and should I?
Yeah, he sent me a message after.
Yeah,
he was so nice, man.
And I was just like, dude, I just didn't feel like I was on my A game of this, and it was like the first time where I was like, fuck, I wish I could redo that.
Well, we tend to go really long. Like, I didn't realize that was 3 hours.
Goes so quick. Yeah, I had to look at it then. I look at the little stopwatch down there.
Let's wrap this sucker up.
Dude, before we go, because when you finished last time, Mick asked what you ate for breakfast. And then I was like, fuck, I wish we recorded that. I almost forgot again. But like, tell people your breakfast smoothie and breakfast routine.
Well, my routine is, so I wake up in the morning. I've been doing it forever. So I wake up in the morning. I like either fish or steak. So I'll rotate fish or steak in the morning. I just have spinach in with that.
Yeah.
So I could do this shit with my eyes closed. So I wake up in the morning. I dump half a bag of spinach, orange juice, and a carrot and some Himalayan sea salt in my blender. I'll blend that up and I'll scull that straight away, just straight down the hatch. Then I'll wash.
Does it taste that bad, or you just
No,
used
it's
to it?
good. Yeah, it tastes like orange juice because I just use the orange juice, blend up the spinach and the carrot, and then smash the bit of Himalayan salt as well. I just scull that straight away. I'm lucky. I've got a really good blender. I've got a Vitamix. If I had to take one thing out of my house with me, it would be that blender because I use it twice a day, every single day.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I do. I drag my feet out of bed. I blend up the spinach, carrot, and orange juice, scull that. And then I'll wash that out and get it ready for my next sort of shakes. While I'm doing that, I'll be cooking. I'll turn the pan on and I'll cook either my fish and spinach or my steak and spinach.
So essentially you're having a bag of spinach every morning.
Yeah. I didn't even think it. Plus, yeah. So spinach is like my go-to green. And then my next shake, which, you like, is I actually, the night before, I'll crack and cook 15 eggs. I just scramble them, and I just cook them in the microwave. I probably shouldn't. I'd rather cook them, but time poor. Then I put it in the fridge, so that in the morning I wake up, the eggs are there. They're just in a glass container. I chuck that. So after I've cleaned out the blender from the first spinach shake, I'll clean that out, and then I'll throw the eggs in, 3 scoops of protein, tub of cottage cheese, 2 frozen bananas, handful of blueberries, more spinach, little bit of honey, a little bit of peanut butter, blast that, and that's enough to make 3 shakes.
Yeah.
And it's just been a bit of a hack that I've gotten into over the years because I'm time poor and I need, so I try and consume about 6,000 calories a day. So that goes a long way in helping that. Now, if you divide that over, say, 3 meals, that would be me sitting down to eat 5 eggs, some spinach, some blueberries, some banana, some cottage cheese. So that would be a very nutrient dense, healthy meal.
Yeah.
I just prefer to blend it all up together and just scull it. It doesn't taste bad at all. And then there's basically my 3 and 3 plan. So I have, my breakfast in the morning, I have my shake, and then I have basically like a mash, like just mince and rice, just a very simple protein and carbohydrate based sort of lunch.
Yeah.
Then after I've gotten those dense nutrients into me, I am quite happy and satisfied to eat whatever the hell I want for the rest of the day, which is usually I'll just get home from work and I'll have, not every night I'll have a pizza or something, but do you know what I mean?
Dude, I haven't had pizza in so fucking long.
Pizza's my go-to.
I'm kind of craving pizza now.
I'm not a good cook, dude. I'm a terrible cook. So I'll eat out most nights. I've got to swing a shout out to Fat Chicken in Burleigh.
Oh, where are they?
Oh, man. So near my place, sort of West Burleigh.
Yeah.
They were voted best chips on the Gold Coast.
Really?
And they are, man. They're the best. And
what else do they do there?
Well, like all chicken. So they just do roast whole chicken.
Oh, like a rotisserie sort of joint.
Yeah, man. Okay. Just the best.
What are they called again?
Fat Chicken.
Fat Chicken.
In West Burleigh.
I'll write that down because I'll for sure forget.
Yeah, hit up Paulie. He's the best. And he makes me like chicken wings and stuff. And oh, man. That'll be like my go-to for dinner.
Yeah, right. I'm going to go suss them out.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon, next week I don't have to go anywhere. That's my big thing is I've just like been going a lot of places.
Yeah.
But like, I'm definitely starting to think more and more about the training side of it. And I think nutrition wise, I do pretty well. Like eating, I never, the other thing is I'll always eat leftovers. So I'm very rarely doing like a shit meal.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty much always eating well.
Yeah.
But I think that I could probably do the shakes a little bit better just to get a little bit more in. And then the biggest thing I struggle with is dehydration. Like I was literally in hospital Saturday because I got dehydrated.
Mate, I have the best product ever.
Really?
Yeah, Element, LMNT.
Yeah.
On Instagram, they're called Drink Element. I have never had a product. So mark my words, sodium is going to be the next big performance enhancer. You remember when like Gatorade and Powerade sort of came out and it was all about carbohydrates? Well, they're not addressing your electrolyte needs. So
sodium is what basically sucks the water and keeps the water in your system, right?
When you're like, when performance wise and when you're thirsty, like you're craving electrolytes, not just water on its own, and certainly not carbohydrates. And this company have basically taken all the science and research that everyone's been reading over the last few years, and they've combined sodium with magnesium, and basically just a little tear packet, and you just tip it into your water. And the best sort of evidence that I had that it was a really good product was I go out camping and dirt bike riding.
Yeah.
And I do that over a whole weekend. So I'll ride Friday afternoon, ride Saturday morning, ride Saturday afternoon, ride Sunday morning. Then I've got to pack up and go home. Well, when I get home, I'm exhausted. It's as you know, it's hard, right? Hard work riding dirt bikes. And I'll be exhausted. Well, after this weekend, and I had that product, and I probably I had like 2 sachets a day. I remember I was putting my bike away, and because I remember how much it sucks when I put my bike away, I'm always dragging my feet,
cramping up and shit.
Yeah, and I'm like, holy shit, I feel so good. I feel like I wasn't even out, and the only difference was this Element product. So I am a massive fan. I mean, I'm not endorsed by them or anything, but I'm a massive fan of that product.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's my biggest thing. Like I was in hospital Saturday because I got dehydrated, and with my kidney being the way that it is, once I got to a certain point of dehydration, I just start vomiting. Yeah, right. And then I was like, I got out. So I went for a surf Sunday. And then I was in there and like my back was cramping, my shoulders were cramping, and I felt like dizzy. I felt it was fucking sketchy. And then I was like, all right, I'm going in. I walked in. As soon as I got to the beach, I started throwing up. Oh, whoa. I was like, fuck. And then I woke up with a headache, which is also a sign that I'm not drinking enough water. But all week I felt shit, but I was fucking busy and I was stressed all week. And I just didn't think about water.
Didn't recognize that you went to.
I just didn't really think of the symptoms. And then, my mind was on so much other shit that I literally made myself sick. Yeah. So then, anyway, I get home from surfing and it's just like throw up. Ricky had to go.
Especially how much you sweat during jiu-jitsu and stuff as well.
And that's the problem.
I've got to get you some of these sachets.
Yeah. I'll look them up.
Yeah.
But, I've struggled to just drink straight water. But, anyway, so like I was throwing up, and then by the time Ricky got home, I was fucked, bro. I couldn't even stand up properly. Like my back and abs and stuff were so cramped that I was like struggling to breathe, and I couldn't even stand up properly. Fuck. So then I went in a couple of bags of fluid and some anti-nausea stuff so I could stop vomiting. Whoa. But like that's how dehydrated I got.
That's bad. Yeah, that's bad. You probably took away a couple of years doing that.
Dude, for real. Yeah. Like they run some tests and they're like, it's not, your kidney's not all the way good now. Yeah. So like that's my biggest thing. I need help with, I don't need help. I just need to fucking drink water. But I need to have a product that makes me drink water easier and like helps me out. So I'll definitely look them up. Yeah. But dude, this was a way better podcast than the first one, and that's my fault, not yours. I don't know. I wasn't fucking Anyway, the stresses of it all. But I'm really glad that you made the time to come back, and
thanks, man.
I think we covered everything and more that we didn't cover. You think we covered everything?
Well, we have to. Within 3 hours, man. I got nothing left to tell.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you real soon, and we'll put this out. I'm literally going to put this out right now.
Cool.
Sweet, bro.
Cheers, man.